All right, what's up, everyone? So we should be getting this kicked off here in just a second. I set it for 3:15. We're just right on the mark, so I'm gonna give a few more people time to roam in here before we get to the,
Brawler! It's time!
I guess if you want to call it like the meat and potatoes of what we're gonna do today. Mostly because we're gonna do something very silly. Because sometimes I'm left with my own thoughts and I have too much time to think about silly content and things we can do. And today, well, actually yesterday, I had the idea of what if, what if we take all the planeswalkers and we do a tier ranking system of the dateability of all the planeswalkers. And I thought that would actually just be dumb, stupid, silly entertainment that's lighthearted, something different, and we can have some fun with that. So we're going to do that later today. Just take all the planeswalkers, we're going to rank them on which ones are the most dateable. And we're probably going to have some dumb logic as to why some work, some don't. But I figured it'd be fun to do live. I'll edit it later and we'll put it up as actual like video content if people want to watch it, the short version versus watching what's probably going to take us like an hour and a half during it. Because there's a lot of planeswalkers. There's like 50 something or 60. Like there's a lot. So it's going to take us a long time to get through all of them. But yeah, should be fun, should be stupid, should be just interesting and different because we don't do stuff like this normally. Most people don't do stuff like this, and there's probably a good reason they don't, honestly. But I'm going to do it, and we're just going to see what we get out of it. So if y'all think this is completely dumb, I apologize. I'm just trying to do something fun and different and interesting for people. That's not always so hardcore, just like build this deck, go play on the ladder, blah, blah, blah. Like, let's have some fun conversations at times and just be silly. You know, we could do that and enjoy ourselves. One of the other things, though, I did want to touch on, because we did a couple of videos this week, obviously, that are budget content. Actually, before we hop on, let me just give some love for sure to Ultra Pro, Cardsphere, some of my sponsors, actually. They do support my content, so please check them out. Also, if you want to get some cool sleeves to spice up your commander deck or whatever, check out Alter Sleeves if you want to look them up. They also have a cool deal there, so you can get some neat things. So just want to check all those people out because they are supporters of my content. So I want y'all to show them plenty of love. Also, don't forget if you want to join the channel, I do let my viewers have some input on what we're going to show sometimes. I also made a couple of exclusive videos for members, and I even will be featuring some member deck lists. So if you want to do any of that, there's a join button right below here somewhere, I think right here. Check that out. Click that. It's for as cheap as 99 cents. I have a lot of people that ask me, why don't I do a Patreon? And so they can support me. Mostly because I already have one for my podcast and it's a lot of work to keep up with. And I could do this other thing right here on YouTube where I'm already doing a lot of work and it's easy and it's the same thing. And I think I get a slightly better percentage through the membership than I do through Patreon anyway. So there's that. So anyway, just want to put that out there. Also, there's super chats and other things if y'all want to support. But yeah, so I want to kind of ask everybody, when it comes to budget or what we'll call free to play content, because some people call it free to play versus budget or however, and the definition being budget is that I'm using is 9 rares or mythics or less, right? So 9 rares or less, can you build this deck, right? Do y'all find that interesting? Because I have a lot of people say, man, I wish there was more budget content. Or when I put it up, there's people saying, oh, it's good you're doing more budget content. But it just doesn't draw the views the same way. I mean, not even close. Like, I'm pretty sure if I go look at the numbers from today and yesterday, yeah, they're significantly lower. Between the 2 days, I'm probably getting like 500 fewer total views per day over the last 2 days. So actually, yeah, it's probably about right. Yeah, that'd actually be about right. 500 per day less on the channel, which isn't like, if you're a bigger channel, it's not a huge number, right? But when a video, like I said, if a video doesn't reach 1,000 views in the first day for me, it's probably just going to be an underperformer, right? Because you get the majority of your views in the first day. So if you go over the last couple weeks, I've gotten back to where regular videos are hitting 1,500, 2,000, whatever. The one from yesterday just hit 1,000. And the one from today probably won't even get to 1,000 in the first day and a half. So it's tough, right? Because I think there's a part of the community that appreciates that type of content. And I like producing that to help those people. But as a creator, when you're talking about time and whatever, I kind of actually need those to even hit harder because it takes more time to build a budget list and go through all these commons and uncommons and find things that work. And then you're also playing games that are more of a slog and less entertaining and whatever. So it's like, it's tough, right? Because you get caught in a spot of like, I want to do the thing that can help people who need it. But at the same time, like, if it doesn't generate the dollars, what do you do? It's also a problem because when those fall off, like over the last 2 days, let's say, because we're getting fewer views, as a whole, the package of stuff on my channel is going to be recommended less because you lose favor with the recommendation system. As it says, okay, well, people are liking this person's stuff less. We need to recommend some other people's stuff. So then it kind of has cascading effects for the next couple of weeks. So it's like, that's kind of the other tough part. Let's see. Relinquish says they like it. Mark K says, greetings from Greece. I kind of late here to watch it. Maybe upload, stream to YouTube also tomorrow. Have fun. No, we actually just started today, so you're not late. Good evening, Moon Watcher. Jeremiah says, why would we want options to build multiple decks at the same time? Said no one ever. Budget brews are perfect for artisan and pauper events. You would think so. You would think so, but they just don't draw the views. Except for a few channels where they are known for doing budget content, and that's the majority of what they do. Those people draw very well. But if you go across the top daily streamers that do historic, standard, now alchemy, whatever, from what I can tell, when those people tend to do budget content, usually by request of their audience, like they just don't draw the same views compared to the other stuff. Even budget decks can be hard to acquire. I think I'll switch to MitGo because MTG Economy just killed my fun. Yeah, I mean, I get it. If that's what works for you, then go for it. You know, I'm not going to tell anybody to play Magic online or Arena one way or the other. Like for me personally, I just play Arena because it's faster, it's smoother, it's the way I enjoy playing Magic online, or playing Magic in an online space. Magic Online, unfortunately, I've never enjoyed it since the beginning. Like, it feels like I'm slogging through playing paper Magic, but I'm in a digital space, and that just feels weird. It feels like I get no real benefit from playing there. So, but I get it, right? People view things differently. People have different expectations. So, like, I'm not worried about that, right? To me, that's not really the discussion at hand. It's more, what is the driving factor for people who want to watch budget content, and what can draw people to watch it? Because that's the thing, like, because that's the part I have to figure out if I'm going to continue doing budget content. But right now, I don't know if I could reasonably justify doing more than like one budget list per month, probably. And even then, I may have to launch something the same day, so I may have to plan like a simple budget video alongside something else to kind of keep everything moving, which is kind of weird. But yeah, if it is what it is, you know, you can't do anything about it. So, and that's tough, right? Because I do think there's some value in budget content. I just don't know if, like, again, I think it feels like unless I make that my calling card, then I'm probably never going to get the views necessary to do that. And that sucks because I don't want to just not have that for part of my community at all. You know, so it may just be one of the cases where I just once a month put up a video and take the hit. You know, because even now I have like a budget Rakdos Vampires deck and whatever, and I'm probably just not going to do those videos. Like, it sucks, but I'm just being honest about it. Like, I have some stuff already built that I'm probably... No, I can't even do one a week. One a week's not even viable. It would have to be one a month right now. Like, I get the idea of one a week, but yeah, it has to probably be one a month. Like, just because the numbers game you're having to play with, like, being seen, recommended, blah, blah, all that, like, it's almost too much effort to even do once a week. So I have some deck lists I may just be sitting on that may never see the light of day, unfortunately. I don't know, maybe it's something I make as an option for my channel members. Maybe I just put out something and I just send it in a note to the channel members or something. Like, you know, maybe you don't get a video, but hey, here's something I'm working on. If you want a budget list, I could do something like that. I don't know. We can see. Like there's ideas. There's probably things I could do with it, but it's tough because, like I said, it does take extra time. The games are obviously you're playing with less powerful cards, so they're a lot slower in some cases. Also, just more of a grind to get through, and then to produce the video, to put it up, and then like get fewer results for the extra effort. It's kind of tough. So I get why a lot of people don't do it. You know, it's tough because I do think there is an audience that does want more of that content. And it's actually, and here's the tough thing, actually. I don't even think it's just doing more of that content. I think they particularly want that content from certain creators, right? People want budget content from Jim Davis. They want that from me. They want that from CGB. Even though there's people that do it currently. Hey, thanks for the new sub there, by the way. Like, even though there's people that do it currently and they're known for doing budget content, they come over and see our other stuff and they're like, I like what you do. I like the way you present it. I like the way you talk through things. Like, I want you to make budget content for me, you know, and I think that's the tough part. So just trying to figure out how to deal with that. I don't really know ultimately what the best way is, but we'll get there. We'll get there. It's just something I definitely want to do. I love Pauper Revenge. Wish there was a way to play it more regularly. Yeah, some people dig that too. Pauper's never been a thing for me, but there's always been people for sure who enjoy it. Lancelot Law says, hey, PD, hope life is good. Otherwise, maybe the most expensive deck on Arena. Oh, most expensive deck on Arena. Gotcha. Wait, the problem is that is kind of the crux of the whole thing, right? We don't even know what people classify as budget. So what we say is the most expensive deck? Just a deck with the most rares and mythics? Like, we've already... Hell, I think I've built some of those, honestly, on the channel. So, I mean, I could probably do that as a video and people would click on it just to see, like, the most expensive deck on Arena. Like, can I build a deck that's all rares? And I probably feel like I've done that. There's probably some deck that played, like, all multicolor lands. Probably. I bet you I could go through and find a thing that fits that bill. But yeah, people would click on that just because. Like, just because you have that in the title, that would be a thing people would click on. Like, I have no doubt about it. They may not even watch the whole video. They might just click on just to see the deck list and see what that would be. But and then I guess, is it any good? You know, is the next question. Because, like, okay, it's expensive, but what does that do for you? Yeah, and that's why Brad, the other day on stream, and then I posted on Twitter to basically, like, let's make a definition of what budget is. And I think we settled on 9 rares or mythics or less. And that seemed to be good with everybody. So that's what I'm going with from now on. What have I been enjoying most? Standard Alchemy? Honestly, I don't know. Indifferent to me right now. Standard... I mean, like, regular Standard right now is just like, you know what you're running into, right? You kind of know the expectations or whatever. Like, I can still build stuff and play it, but, like, you're either going to play something that struggles a little bit against mono white, or you're going to struggle a bit against Izzet Epiphany, right? You just take your pick which one you want to beat, and then you struggle against the other one, you know, 30, 40% or whatever. And that's fine. Like, you just kind of know that's what it is. Like, you get to play against fewer things, and that's probably my downside to playing Standard a lot of the time. Alchemy so far is okay. My only issue is I feel like it just added cards to decks that already existed. We didn't necessarily get new decks because of Alchemy. So, like, mono black just shifted to doing more sacrifice things, right? The mono white decks or cleric decks just added in the captain to do those silly things or whatever, right? So the other decks still exist. We just kind of shifted their focus a little bit with a couple of new cards. And I don't think that's necessarily what Wizards intended. Though, I will say I get to play against a larger variety of decks in Alchemy, so that is a reasonable, nice change of pace, right? I can try other decks because the competition is more varied, right? You have, like, the Sacrifice decks, the Azorius Control decks, the Mono Blue stuff, the Dragons decks, whether that's Mono Red, Gruul, whatever. There's various Mono White decks. There's the Life Gain decks. I think I had a Gruul aggro list that we played the other day that I've seen pop up a few times. So there's a few different things. Also, awkwardly, and I don't think my channel's all that big, but I'm starting to see some of my deck lists pop up in different places lately. So that's good, but weird. Because I don't have the reach yet that should be a norm. But I'm seeing people comment on things on like the day I post lists, like they're running into it on the ladder. So like it's kind of weird to know that there's that level of acceptance that people like the list and they're playing them, but weird that my views aren't high enough to say that that should be a thing. So I'm trying to figure out how that works. Jason says, whatever you end up doing, we'll end up watching. Really like watching you play and how you talk your thoughts out while you're playing. Thanks for the content. Well, you are very welcome. Thanks for watching. True fans watch no matter what. Yeah, here's the thing though. Like, I put out a lot of content. So if people skip a video or two, like, I completely understand. Like, I don't expect anybody to watch every single thing. And that's why I'm trying to hone in on what particular things get you to watch the thing you're into, right? Like, if somebody's into budget stuff, when I put up a video, what does it need to do to get every person who's within my sphere who wants to see a budget focused video, right? Same thing if I do a standard video. Like, what do people want to see? So if you're into standard, I can get you to watch this video, right? Because some people are gonna be like, it doesn't really work for me. Now, the other thing too, and I asked about this a couple days ago, I think I asked this to the members. I may have sent this out just generally, I don't remember. But one of the things I asked people too was about Commander content. Because I get a lot of people ask me about Commander stuff since I'm on the Commander advisory group. And the toughest thing right now is everybody just pretty much wants the same thing out of Commander. They all either want you to do gameplay footage or they want you to do budget Commander lists. Or deck techs in general. But most often it's budget Commander requests. The problem there is I can't do those two things. And I just want to put this out there publicly. Like, it's content I can't do. I can't do the gameplay stuff without an editor. Like, that's just real because I just don't have time. Right? And the bar has now been raised to a point that if you don't do the absolute top tier, or absolute being like that upper 5% or whatever. I'm not saying like you have to be the absolute best. But if you're not willing to do top tier videos for gameplay, you just get a bunch of complaints, right? It's either like, why don't you show this? Why don't you have that? Why aren't the life totals there? Why don't you do, why I can't see this card enough? Why doesn't this person have better lighting? Blah, blah, like, and I tried a bunch, and that's not a fault on anybody, to be honest. Like, I've tried a bunch of different things. There's always some different complaint or whatever. I just can't compensate for. The problem really is just the market itself. Right? Everybody that does quality gameplay footage of Commander truly, literally has either professional quality editors who do actual editing or movie level stuff, or they have a setup where they're controlling everything in person and they have multiple cameras, multiple mic setups or whatever. Well, right now, I'm definitely not able to get in person with a lot of the people I would normally play Commander with. I also don't have the setup with multiple cameras and feeds and whatever. So, like, I can't do that. And I don't have an editor, so I'm kind of out of that ball game, unfortunately. As much as I like playing Commander or whatever, just not a thing. The other part of that is people, I guess, see the stuff I put together in different formats and different creativities or whatever, and they want to see me do that for Commander regularly. But the reality is, I can't do that content just because I don't enjoy building Commander decks. I don't even like building Brawl decks. Like, going through and finding 100, obviously it's not 100 because you do play some basics or whatever, but you know what I'm saying. Like, going through and finding 100 cards for a thing that I'm literally going to play once or showcase for a video and then have to do that work all over again doesn't even interest me. Like, literally, the Sliver deck is the third Commander deck I have in total. In, 15, 16 years of playing the format? Like, dead serious. I pretty much keep one Commander deck, and that gets updates every, 4 to 6 months. And that's what I play. I've literally played that deck only in public settings or whatever. I've played another deck that I got from a collection I bought that I just upgraded and finished. And I've played that once. And it wasn't even public. It was just with a group of friends on Spell Table. And now I have the Sliver deck. So, though I've played Commander forever, and I know a lot of the cards, and I'm on the Commander advisory group, I literally don't have that big pile of Commander decks because the process for building a Commander deck just isn't entertaining to me. I enjoy playing Commander, but the process of deck building isn't fun for me. Now, I did tell people I could do something like, lesser known commander cards or some creative cards you may not have considered for commander or whatever. Like I can do that kind of stuff all day, and I probably will at some point. So like that stuff could be fun to do and be something different, and enjoyable. But the tough thing is, like I said, the two most popular things, one, I'm just not mentally built to do. The other, I'm just not skillful enough, maybe, to do without the help of an editor. So that's tough. And it's mostly a time thing on the editing thing. Like it just takes a lot of extra effort. I'm just not there, unfortunately. Like, so I'm just putting that out there to be upfront and honest with everybody so y'all know what to expect. I know a lot of people request that, a lot of people, but it's, I mean, when you ask people like, hey, and the thing is, and here's the sad thing, is I had asked people what is missing in that level of content. And literally, I still don't even get that as a response. Everybody said, well, I'd like to see you do. And it's really just more gameplay footage and deck lists. And it's like, that's not what's missing. Like, you missed the point of the question. Like, what would you like to see in that environment that doesn't exist right now? That's what I want to know. Like, that's the stuff I can try to focus on. And I think would be more interesting. But I get it. If that's what people want to see more of, cool. It's just a thing I can't provide right now. So if you ever wonder why I'm not doing more of that, even though I am entrenched in the Commander community or whatever, those are the reasons why. I just like being upfront about that because I know people have lots of questions around it because they think it's something I should be doing, but we just can't. Because I would totally hop on Spell Table and show those games all day and play. I have tons of creators who want to get me on their things just to play more Commander, but at the end of the day, it's not something I could do to a level that people would enjoy watching. What about drafting? Is there content interest or personal interest in showcasing this or other arena formats? I've told people up front, I can do drafting one way and one way only. If you want to watch me do the draft and talk through picks and then talk about potential deck lists we could build or decks we could build from the cards that we've drafted, and then that's it, then I could do that content. If you want to see me play those decks, I'm probably not the guy to do that content. And the 2 times I've surveyed people to ask, it was like 55, 45-ish, plus or minus like 2 or 3%, depending on if it was Facebook, Twitter, or YouTube. And it's like, that's just going to end up with me having a bunch of people complain. Like if it had been like 60-40 or 70-30, I probably would have went for it and did it. But knowing that I'm going to have basically half the audience that's just going to be upset I'm not playing the games, then it's not worth it for me to do it yet. And I'll survey again probably in another month or 2, run it back out again, see what people think, if they're interested or whatever. And if they are, then maybe I'll do a couple of videos. I mean, I literally have, I don't know, like 11 or 12 draft tokens saved up in Arena, so I could do some drafts and make video. Even if I did it once a week for the next, what is that, 3 months? Plus I'll get some from the next set. So I could probably do 4 months of content once a week if it was just draft, let's build the decks and call it good. But for me, it's a time management thing, right? Like, unless I knew my draft videos were going to draw like a huge number of views, like when I'm playing draft games, I'm playing games where I'm not learning anything or not learning anything I can apply anywhere, right? I'm playing with cards I'm never going to play again. I'm not gaining anything from doing it other than just getting free cards. And that's time, because those games tend to be a lot slower. That's time I could be dedicating toward something else, whether that's researching another thing, building a deck for another video, working on some other interesting or different content, right? Contacting other people. Like, I just don't gain anything out of doing the draft. Now, I do understand, like, there is at least reasonably engaged part of the community that does like limited content. Nothing wrong with that. There are some people like Numat the Nummy or whatever that are just known for doing limited content, and good on them. Somebody should be doing it. I honestly believe that. Like, somebody should be there for that part of the community, and they enjoy playing those games. But to me, I don't feel like I have anything to add once we get to the gameplay. Like, maybe I can give you a different perspective on drafting or what cards I like or don't like or whatever. But once we get to the gameplay, it's going to be hard for me to be excited about it. Like, I mean, like, that's the thing. Unless I manage to somehow draft some like weird deck that you never get to draft, but that would be obscure, a rare occurrence. You know what I mean? Not something that I could add value to. And that's kind of my thing. Like when I do content, I try to think about like, am I adding value by doing this? You know, and a lot of times, at least for standard alchemy or whatever, it's like, okay, I'm putting together a different list. I'm trying some different cards. I'm showing people some ways they can use some stuff in their collection or whatever. You know, when I'm doing the hidden gems videos, I'm like, hey, here's stuff you probably own that you don't know is worth money, right? Talking about like, hey, why is stuff, you know, the video I did recently talking about why your cards have become worth more during the pandemic, right? Opening people's minds, saying like, hey, here's all the reasons you may not know that this stuff has actually become more valuable. So people walk away more educated, right? That's content where I'm adding value to people. If I'm doing draft videos, like I said, maybe through the draft portion, I feel like I can give you a little bit of perspective or something there. I don't think I'm giving you anything by playing the games. Like, I think that's my problem. You know, I like when I think about myself playing the draft games, I don't know where I'm adding value other than you just getting to see the cards in action. I don't know, like, I mean, and here's the other problem too for me is like, even if you had a small takeaway, it would be like one thing on like one card that you may not even draft again the next 2 or 3 times you draft. You know what I mean? Whereas if I spend that time putting something into a deck list for a constructed format, like you're immediately going to play a game where you have those cards and you could replicate the plays or whatever, right? Those things become immediately apparent. So it's tough. It's tough. And maybe it's, you know, personal philosophy clashing with needs or whatever. But that's what I always ask people. Like, if there's enough people that say, like, hey, I'd love to have PowrDragn do draft content or whatever, I'll consider it. You know, I'm not opposed to it. It's just a matter of what can I bring to the table or in what way can I present it that it's still entertaining. That's the biggest thing for me. Because honestly, I'll be honest with you, like, even when I go back and watch, like, well, you probably can't see the numbers now, but you go back and watch old Pro Tours and stuff, people would even watch the drafts, but then during the gameplay portion of those games, the numbers would dip. You know, so people show up and they're like, okay, cool, I want to see what the best players pick or the best drafters draft or whatever. But then it came to playing the games, people didn't stick around for the games. They would come back and then you'd see the numbers start creeping back up as you got to the constructed portion, right? When they got back to playing standard or modern or whatever they were playing, you'd see the numbers start creeping back up for that stream. So to me, that kind of mirrors what I would expect people would do, right? Like, I could see people watching a video, trying to watch the draft, maybe watching it in like 2x speed or whatever so they can just see the picks. They probably don't care about me running my mouth about every pick. They'd see all the picks. They would look at the cards we drafted. They would upvote or downvote the video based on where they thought I drafted well or poorly. And then they probably wouldn't even watch the gameplay. Like, that's probably what would happen with the majority of those videos anyway. Which is all the more reason to not even bother playing the games and editing that portion of the video and loading it or whatever. I could just cut it off before then. Lancelot says, I enjoy your vids and podcasts. Also really like your broadcasting commentary stints. Thanks. I did some commentary most recently with the Degenerate Open back in December. And we have another one coming up in October. Or not October. Why did I say October? At the end of this month. I have no idea why I just said October. That was weird. But yeah, January 22nd, I'm going to be doing commentary again with MTG Nerd Girl, and I think somebody else, maybe the one James, is going to go. Charizard James might be hopping in on coverage. I'm not totally sure, but I think there's going to be a third or fourth commentator rotating through. But yeah, I'll be doing that, and I believe it's going to be an alchemy tournament. So, matter of fact, let me see if I can dig that up for you. Let me go over to MTG Melee, and I will bring up details for everybody who wants to participate, because this event is also going to have the opportunity for people to qualify for the season qualifier or whatever. So you can try to get into the big money tournament. So it's awesome for that too. All right, let me click over here on tournaments real quick, and then I will see if I can find an upcoming event for you with the DGN Open. Because like I said, it's on the 22nd. I believe it's like a $6 entry fee. And there's also going to be giveaways of points as well. And this one's sponsored by Ultra Pro. And it's going to be $1,000 in prizes, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, lots of stuff incoming. I'll have to find it. I don't know where the link is. I had it just the other day. I'll share it in the Discord or whatever later. I think I linked it in a video 2 days ago also. So if you check the video descriptions, you should see it there as well. But either way, that's a tournament that's coming up if you want to participate in that. I think it's cool. It's a cheap way. If you want to participate, get a shot at, you know, instead of having to be in the top 1,200 or whatever, that's really hard for people to maintain. You make top 8, you at least get a shot to get your foot in the door. You know, so that's one way. And that's a cool thing that they started doing recently with MTG Melee and Wizards of the Coast. They kind of started letting creators do that whole sort of thing, which is kind of neat. So now you can actually start getting people into this next level of play that maybe can't maintain a top 1,200 ranking or play enough to get up that high or whatever. So it's kind of neat. So yeah, we'll see more of that for sure. But all that stuff, I find it all very interesting. You know, I really do. I think the commentary is fun. I enjoy doing that. So I'm glad people appreciate it and enjoy it for sure. But yeah, you know, with 2022 being a thing, I do want to change up the content. Not change up, but add some different things to the content. So that's why I've been asking all these questions about like budget stuff, about commander stuff. I kind of want to present some different things knowledge-wise that people just may not know about. So I might go deeper into the hidden gem stuff that we've been doing. I like having a lot of that supplemental content out there. So that way, because as much as we all are playing Magic Online or Arena or whatever, like, I still want to be a positive force to kind of open up the discussions, and not everything has to be about competitive play or whatever, right? Like there's so much else in the Magic world or around it that we can talk about. So I want to keep those conversations going as well. Crazy Abe says, hey man, new to the channel. Heard about you from CGP. Great content. I like how you really talk through your thought process and when you're playing, great work. Thank you very much. Yeah, CGP has sent a few people my way. So really thankful for that for sure. What content are you working on now that you're most excited about releasing? Well, I couldn't tell you that, Jason. I'd have to kill you. And that wouldn't be cool. I'd lose a subscriber that way. That's actually the opposite of what I'm trying to do. No, like I said, there's a lot of stuff I have kind of behind the scenes. Like, I literally keep piles of notes on stuff. I'm always researching things. I'm always talking to other creators. I'm always watching for trends. So there's other stuff coming. It's just a matter of how... And I will say, there's some other stuff, too, that is really cool that I just can't do right now. Matter of fact, there's one I've had to push back since October that I'm probably going to end up canceling because of Omicron and COVID, because I just haven't been able to travel, and I have to go to this physical location to do a thing, and I just can't, you know, so it's unfortunate, but, and it had potential. I mean, there may still be a chance we can find a way to do it online, but I don't know if it would have the same impact, so I may not get to do it, which is super sad, super sad. So we'll see. We'll see. There's a few things, you know, there's other creators that want me to get on their channel and do stuff. Some people that want me to come to their location in person. Obviously, that's more difficult right now with the pandemic. So yeah, just a lot of things in the pipe. I mean, I literally have a ton of stuff, but my issue right now is finding an editor. It's kind of step one. Well, finding an editor that I can also afford, because I don't want anybody to just do stuff for me for free, obviously. And if they're supplementing their income or whatever, I'd like to still be able to pay them something worthwhile. So, you know, but the problem I have right now is between streaming, I don't know, up to 5 times a week, you know, putting videos out every single day, sometimes twice a day, which, by the way, I don't know if y'all saw my thing on Twitter. I did the math. We actually just crossed 1,000 video pieces of content on the YouTube channel in less than 2 years. And the math is 1.4 pieces of content a day average. So yeah, I have no more time. You know, I'm also still doing commentary a couple times a month now. We're going to be doing a thing as that expands. There's a whole other group I'm talking to that I may need to do something with. I have a sponsor I'm going to be needing to make like a couple of videos for. So that's coming up. the podcast we're still doing, so I just don't have time to edit more stuff. So like, even though I have a bunch of ideas for content, I just can't squeeze in. Like, even if it takes me, it might be a simple thing where it's just a commentary piece and it takes me like an hour to record or whatever. But like, I don't have the extra up to 2 hours, to dedicate to fit. Because here's the weird thing. Like, I have editing my Magic gameplay videos down pretty much to a science. I have certain pieces that go in and out and whatever, and music and all that. If I'm really hustling, after getting it all together, I can edit that in under an hour. Well, I've had one or two that, because it was just an easy edit, like 35, 45 minutes. They're still like loading the video and all that stuff. But for something like the why your cards increase in value video I did a couple days ago, even though I think that's like a 15-minute video or something, that took like 3 times as long to edit. Because I have to find images and I have to do more overlay stuff and I'm clipping more pieces together. And, there's music between transitional scenes and like all this stuff that goes into it. So I was like, I just can't spend that kind of time doing that type of, but I have a lot of those pieces I want to do. Like we have sort of sub-series like we talked about, like hidden gems and stuff like that. Like, it would be cool to knock that out and then shove that to an editor and just say, cool, get that back to me in like 2 days. And just let the editor knock it out, and then I just pay them for it, and then I just do the thumbnail and an intro or something, and then boom, I can put it on YouTube. So that's like my next step. Or if I find an editor who likes editing Commander content, because then I can at least do Scryfall games, or not Scryfall, but Spell Table games, and then hand that off, let them edit it, and then like a week later put it up or whatever, right? So there's options, but I think an editor is kind of like the big step for me right now. And I don't think I can necessarily use an editing service for what I need, because I need somebody that's Magic familiar to be able to handle some of the context of what I'm putting in the video. So it's a little bit of a thing. I have one person who did reach out to me on Discord, so I got to respond to them, and we'll just see how it goes. I mean, 2022 is going to be a weird time. But yeah, I'm literally that guy that has just tons of ideas. Even when I'm doing consulting stuff for people for their content, I have a lot of people that are like, I don't know what to do. I don't know how I could do this thing. And I'm like, immediately when I find out about them, their background, whatever, I'm just like shooting off ideas. And they're like, dude, where's this all come from? I'm like one person I was helping, like, he's based in Japan right now. Though he's American or whatever, he just happens to be over there right now. And I literally just rattled off like 20 things he could do that I can't do strictly because he's in Japan. That would still be interesting. So I'm definitely an idea person. I'm just running out of time person. Counterplay, you're late to the conversation. I will repeat it again. I would guess from Commander, you want to see me do a bunch of gameplay footage, or you want to see me do deck techs. Gameplay footage can't happen without me having an editor. That's a given at this point. And mostly because everybody complains about every bit of content unless you have top tier content for gameplay with Commander. And you can't do that without an editor. That just kind of is what it is. Or super editing skills, which I don't own. Deck techs can't happen because I literally don't enjoy building 100-card decks and all the work that goes into them to never play them or play them one time and take them apart and do it again or whatever. Just not my thing. I get it. That's a thing for people. I know that's hard for people to believe when I'm on the Commander Advisory Group. But that Sliver deck you saw me build a couple weeks ago, literally, that's the 3rd Commander deck I've assembled, personally. Genuinely. It's literally one of 3 I own that's complete right now. And that's only because number 2 and number 3 are only because I bought collections that had like half to 3/4 done Commander decks, and I just finished them off just to have them and have other Commander decks. So I enjoy playing the hell out of Commander. Just the process of Commander deck building doesn't really do it for me. However, I will likely end up doing a bunch of like unknown cards, undervalued things, whatever, stuff like that for Commander. Like commentary around cards and the format and stuff like that will probably be coming. I have an idea for doing a Rule 0 video where like I don't think Rule 0 is the answer people think it is. So I think it's overhyped and whatever, and I have a whole thought for a whole video to do around that. That'll come up. Like, I'll have a bunch of that type of stuff, but as far as actual gameplay, not happening until I have an editor. I mean, you're welcome to watch me play, but to have like regular edited quality gameplay footage that's to the level, because the bar, and here's the thing, like, credit to all the people doing it. I don't want this to, I genuinely don't want this to sound like a complaint. They're like, well, I can't do that unless I have an editor. No, the reason is simply that the people that are known for doing that content that people enjoy watching have set the bar extremely high. I mean, go look at stuff that obviously that Game Nights does, right? Even the stuff on like Commander Quarters, what is it, Games Haven, the group that plays out of like the Philippines or whatever, their stuff is good. Alias V has a fantastic editor for the game Commander gameplay videos she's been putting up. Like, they're all very high quality. And if you're not one of those levels, you just get a bunch of complaints because there are things people expect now whenever they go watch those. And that's totally justifiable because of the way the market has become on Commander gameplay footage. I mean, literally, there's people saying like, oh, well, I have to be able to see this card perfectly, and the lighting's bad over here, and, you know, the life total should be displayed this way, and well, I can't clearly see every single person's commander, and I can't do this. Like, all these things are accounted for very specifically and clearly in a lot of these other videos, the way they're done. And like I said, it's either you have a really good editor, or you have to be able to control the environment for all the lighting and camera shots and everything else. And that's really what people are doing. They either have super fantastic editors, or they have environments where everybody's meeting in one place and they're controlling multiple camera angles, multiple microphones, and probably still have a good editor. So yeah, I'm just not in that position, so I can't provide the content that people want. Now I can provide Commander content, it just won't be gameplay footage and probably won't be deck techs, unfortunately, which is kind of sad in a way. You know, I wish I could do it. Like, I enjoy playing and I wish I could put that up. But it's not worth it to have to, I mean, for lack of a better term, tell a bunch of people to shut up, you know, or delete a bunch of comments, because there's no positive to come out of it. And if there's not enough positive to come out of doing it, it's just not even worth showing. You know what I mean? So I'd just rather not do it at that point. Now, my last thing before we get into the dateability of Planeswalkers, because that's going to be a hoot, is really, and now there's kind of, I want to ask everybody in the chat, because I think I asked in the Discord and I asked a few people online, what is the draw to seeing creators battle? And I ask this because I've seen it come up in gaming circles as well. Like, this past week, I'm sure if you're on Twitter or whatever, you've seen the trend where it's like, hey, if you want to collaborate, leave a comment. If you think I'm hot, retweet it, or whatever the thing was, right? I ended up getting a bunch of DMs, and I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus. That's not what this is about. But I ended up getting a bunch of DMs from people that were basically, oh, we should get together and play against each other sometime. You know, some variation of that. And that's all fine and good. And we talked about this on the podcast today, by the way. If you want to go download the podcast, episode 117 of Color of Magic is up. My problem is just that, like, you're getting somebody else who's also on a busy schedule, and you're inviting them on, and you're not doing anything that stands out, right? You're not showcasing each person's expertise. You're not bringing anything of value to each other's content other than just being there and being a personality. You know, and it's just like, unless that person is huge and their, you know, name recognition maybe draws some people or gets you some extra viewers or whatever, great. But like, even then, I always think about, if I'm the smaller channel, what am I providing to the other person by this collaborative effort? And if it's just me just playing cards, it's like, well, I'm not providing anything. We're just getting to play a game of Magic. You know, and I don't even know what the upside is. Like, what if I win on your content? Or what if you win on my content? Right? Like, what are we hoping the outcome is? Right? Like, that's the weird part to me. Like, I truly just don't understand. And this part's going to sound rude, so I'm apologizing up front. But I often feel like when somebody that can give you significant reach, or a huge channel, or a big podcast, or whatever, is giving you the opportunity to work with them, And the best thing you can come up with is we should battle against each other. That's probably the reason you're struggling or not growing. Like there's no creative, it's just completely uninspired content. I think that's the problem. Yeah, I'm the same way, Brad. It's just who be who. Now, don't get me wrong. Like when you have two really big personalities, like when it was CGB versus Crokies, and they spent weeks building that up, and they did little promo videos making fun of each other and all that and whatever. They were getting two big audiences invested in their game, and then they had a series of games, and they made a spectacle out of it, and it was cool. But you're also talking about two people that already had large audiences, right? So that was just a draw in and of itself. So I'm not really sure. Let's say somebody's got a 5 to 10,000 subscriber channel and my like 15,000 subscriber channel. Like we're not really hyping anything. You know what I mean? Like PowrDragn's gonna battle, I don't know, whoever else has like 10,000 subscribers or whatever, right? Like, I'm gonna battle some of the guys over at One More Mana, in a commander game. Like that's not a thing, but if we could talk about how this person got started, what they're inspired by, like what led them to do the type of content they do. Maybe there's something that's topical that they can relate to. Maybe when the Gamergate was going on and you happen to be a woman or whatever, right? That could be an interesting perspective for somebody's audience that may be very male centric or whatever, right? That's stuff that could have value. When I got on with the professor and we did our series of videos talking about like the mental health of people and the struggles things are going through, and I got to add like the retail perspective of the conversation, how retail is going to change for gamers coming out of the pandemic or whatever, right? Like I was bringing something of value to his channel and the content. And we literally talked about that for a couple weeks before we actually even recorded the content. Like literally we had DMs back and forth of like, here's a bunch of ideas. This what works. I like this one too. Hey, I can add this to the conversation. I think it'd be cool. And then we recorded some content, right? To me, that's not only is that content good, it adds value. It showcases me as well to his audience. So now I get more viewers because people are like, oh, hey, I hadn't seen this guy before. I like his perspective, whatever. Versus us just playing modern against each other and just chit chatting. You know what I mean? Like that just doesn't have the same oomph to it. Debate with them on Magic topics. Yeah, that could be a thing. I mean, I think I quoted this earlier, but like I did something with Dev over on SB MTG where we did 2 videos of just like our favorite cards of a set, and then we did what we thought could be sleeper cards out of the set, and then we kind of talked about what we did and didn't like about each other's picks. Right? That's quality content that you can do with somebody. And each person's perspective gets shown. You get to kind of see what cards people like and what their style kind of lends them toward or whatever. Makes sense, right? That's better than us sitting there and playing each other for an hour. Let's see. Somebody says agreed. Oh yeah, they were definitely doing wrestling promo type stuff for sure. Sometimes it's just watching two personalities goof off with one another and have fun playing. And that's totally true. But when everybody wants to do that, it loses its value very fast. People are just trying to get some of the CGB Crokies action. That might be true. I don't know. Counterplay says I'd watch that. Yep, sure. It's kind of fun though, seeing someone you like beat someone you maybe don't like as much. But that's the thing. Like if somebody doesn't like somebody, why do I even want them on my content? You know what I mean? Or if somebody doesn't like me, why should I be on somebody else's content? Right? If a big chunk of their audience doesn't already like that other person, it's not going to be a draw for the person hosting it. And it doesn't do any good for the person that they already don't like because they're not getting anything out of it. So, I think that's my issue is, and I told people like, if you have a creative idea, cool. If you have something that you think we can each add value to each other, cool. But like, I'm almost disappointed when I'm like, oh, some other creators reaching out. And it's like, okay, they just want to get me on to play Commander, or they just want to get me on to battle on Arena. Like, I'm like, I'll probably do it at some point, but that's content I will do as my schedule allows. That's not content I'm going to make time on my calendar to do. You know what I mean? It's, and that sounds very like I don't know, snobby or uppity or whatever, but it's just like, that's something I will do because it's fun. It's nice to do. You know, if it's like, hey, I'm going to have some time next Thursday. Are you free? Cool. Let's go ahead and get together and record something. But if you're like, hey, I have this really cool idea and I want to talk about this thing and you're one of the people that's qualified to talk about it. All right, cool. I will put that on my calendar for later this week and we will make sure we record it. You know, like there is a very big difference. Let's see. You're just going to keep focusing on doing a good job. Well, yeah, that's the thing. I try to do a good job with most stuff. Yeah, but that's exactly it, Matt. Like when Strider reached out and we were having a conversation about topic and the difficulties of YouTube and whatever, it was like, okay, cool. He reached out and said, hey, I've been thinking about this topic. I've been really wanting to talk about it. Would you come on my show? We recorded it the next day. Like, so if somebody has an idea and something that's worthwhile, then I think we can have a real conversation about it. I will gladly make time for that as soon as I possibly can. But when somebody reaches out and says, well, we should just get together and play on Arena, I'm just like, all right, cool. I'll see if we can make that happen. Right. I'm not going to say no, but it's like, we'll get to it when we get to it. You know, I literally turned off your holiday stream video because you talked about this for 20 minutes. Please move on. Hey, Babel, I get it. If it's a thing people don't like, I understand. But that's part of what my content is. I tell people that. Like, I talk about all the things around Magic and gaming as well as talking about just Magic. That's literally who I am. That's literally my content. It's the way I've always been. And I understand that's not going to be for everybody. I totally do. And I understand if it's something you don't enjoy. That is very unfortunate. I hope you find stuff on my content otherwise that you do enjoy. I think it's important to have those conversations and to talk about those things. You know, I think it's just one of those things. And in particularly, I know I didn't talk about this particular topic as far as like working with other creators to this level because that just came up a few days ago. So I know that hasn't been a thing. I talked about it on my podcast yesterday pretty heavily. So just saying. It's just one of those things. And again, it's not to be mad at anybody. It's not to insult anyone. It's just kind of unfortunate because when I look around other industries, when we're talking about like non-gaming industries, you know, nobody goes out and gets, I don't know, MKBHD, who does a bunch of like tech reviews and stuff and tries to do competitive things with them or whatever. It's just like, hey, let's get his expertise on this topic. Or let's work with them to do a cool video ranking things or something or whatever, right? And I think a lot of that, when you get people together, can be way more positive to say, hey, let's play together and do something. I think that could be really fun for people. You know, like, let's get people together and let's work on ranking things together. Let's work on playing a game together and talk about strategic stuff. Let's make a deck together for our community or something, right? Like that could be fun. But like, let's do as a community, let's focus on doing more fun and creative things. That would be way more enjoyable, top to bottom, than just people just playing, right? Because we all play. Like, I mean, like, there's so much of that content out there right now. I think that's one of the things that makes it tough for some people to grow right now, is they're hopping on and you're just playing more Magic. You're just playing more Arena. It's tough to make your foothold, right? If that's just all you're doing, because there's literally a pile of it every single day. We got to bring something else different to the table. And I think it's good for the growth of the community as well, right? There's got to be room for people to do like the Vorthos content and talk about story and whatever. There's got to be room for people, like we said, to do limited stuff or whatever, right? There's got to be a variety of things out there, or it's all going to get kind of stale. And I think by us doing more things and showing more stuff, one, as a personality and a content creator, you get to showcase more of your skills and your talents and your thought processes or whatever, which is good because it helps you build an audience. But I think over time, it also gives you the opportunity to pull in people from the fringes that might just be thinking about Magic, or maybe they've seen a little bit of content somewhere. Maybe they caught some footage of a tournament, right? But if they're just seeing more of everybody do the same thing, whether either they're in or they're out, and if there's a bunch of it all the same, they're already out. You know, they're not going to touch base and come back in for you. Fearless Flesh says, opinion on WotC pushing to get famous people from outside MTG to play, stream, learn MTG, and growing the smaller native creators in their space is good or balanced. I don't even know where that's coming from. Like, if you're talking about the stuff with like Post Malone's played Magic for decades, literally. Like, he's had old interviews where he was on late night talk shows wearing literal button-up shirts that have Magic cards on them. Like, Wizards didn't go find him. Like, he's been playing Magic forever. You know, I don't think that's like they've done that for years though. Like, we've had videos with like, I think Josh Gordon-Levitt's been out there showing off his like Power 9 collection or whatever, right? A lot of these celebrities just play Magic. Hell, we have Hunter Pence, who is an MLB baseball player. You know, he's talking about playing. He runs tournaments online. You know, like, so this isn't like WotC's having to go create these things. These are people that just are celebrities that happen to play Magic. They just happen to be nerds and they grew up with the game. Like, that's not a build thing. You know, and the reality is, like, we have to also be real about how Wizards is going to work with creators. Like a Hearthstone stream for, no, that still makes sense to me. Like, here's the thing. If you're Wizards of the Coast, you can go to somebody, including me, because my channel's not huge. I'm barely qualified to be a mid-sized channel, right? You can go to somebody small and say, okay, we're going to give them, I don't know, X amount of dollars to do a preview or whatever, star in a commercial or whatever it is, right? We're going to go give this money to this person. What is their expected return? Because that person can't produce a high quality piece of content. You know, they don't have the skills yet, or they don't have the equipment. Including them isn't going to be a draw for whatever you're doing because they haven't built an audience yet. Right? So regardless of the company, Wizards or otherwise, what's the benefit of doing that versus going and using somebody else that already has an audience, or showcasing and drawing in people from outside to get you fresh viewers or whatever? Like, I get how it looks, but ultimately I ask people, like, what is their gain from doing it the other way? Because if you look at it like this, when Wizards had the community creator program or whatever that thing was, you had a large chunk of people in that community because everybody wanted it to be open to everyone, and everybody said everyone should have a chance at it, whatever, right? Ultimately, it ended up being a bunch of people who never built themselves up, who were already getting one of the best rewards Wizard offered for putting in minimal effort. And there were many people I saw that did almost nothing but the minimum amount so they could keep getting preview days and all that stuff or whatever, right? So what was Wizards getting out of even having that content available or that program available? Like, they were basically getting the work of all the creators that were already busting their humps and doing the right things and building their audiences and streaming all the time and doing whatever, right? So the program wasn't even giving them anything, even though they were including all of these smaller creators and they were being involved in the day one, whatever we called that, release day stuff or whatever. But it just wasn't doing anything for them. Because those smaller creators, sadly, and this isn't anybody's fault. Well, not true. If you're in a creator program and you're only doing the bare minimum, that kind of is your fault. But just some people aren't full-time creators yet, right? They still have their day job. They have the stuff going on, whatever. Some people are just never going to be big. I mean, that's the other reality. You know, hell, I can tell you when I was researching podcasting, there were some, like, the numbers are something like some huge number, like hundreds of thousands of podcasts where we get started every year. And most of them don't make it past like episode 5. You know, that's just the way it is. Same thing with Magic streaming. I saw some people who started near the beginning of the pandemic. They're already done. You know, it's been less than 2 years. They're not even making content anymore. So what's the benefit of them throwing money behind that, right? They're not growing. They're not getting extra eyeballs. They're not increasing the bottom line. They end up spending a bunch of money to not get necessarily new faces or get people engaged or whatever. So I get it. I mean, I'm pretty sure Wizards is already not necessarily happy even when they work with quality creators. And all they get out of some people is like, I'm going to share my preview on Twitter. no context, no nothing. It's just like, thanks, Wizard, for giving me a card. And here's a preview card. Right? I have a feeling they appreciate it much more when somebody takes time and does like a quirky video, or talks about why they like a certain card or whatever, or way you can use it, or something extra other than just like, hey, here's a thing. And I get it. Like I said, I get how it looks, because you would rather it be like, oh, well, support this small person in the community that I like. Like, I get that part of it. But monetarily, it just doesn't do anything. It's the same reason you just don't get sponsors from a lot of different things if you're a smaller creator or whatever, right? You sadly kind of have to prove yourself, right? You have to build up and say like, okay, here's why somebody should support me. This is the amount of effort I'm putting in, right? Here's my body of work or whatever. So you have something to hang your hat on, which a lot of people just don't have right now. I think a lot of times, a lot of those discussions get lost in the community. I think it's very easy for people to see something like we talked about this on the podcast too, right? Like there was a thing that WotC just crossed $1 billion in sales in 2021, right? So immediately everybody goes, they're milking Magic players for all this, whatever. Like, and it's like, time out. That's not all paper Magic money, right? Some of that's Magic, some of it's Magic Online, some of that's Arena. Some of that's all those board games from Avalon Hill, like Betrayal at House on the Hill or whatever, selling fantastically. D&D is seeing record numbers, right? We have more D&D streams, more D&D content on YouTube, more people making D&D variant races and everything else to play with, right? Like, that's all generating money. Wizards also has more like contracts with like mobile apps and things like that. Like those are all generating money. Hell, even failed projects like that MMO thing we had a few months ago. Like they paid some amount of money to Wizards to be able to do that, right? All of those things generated money. And I'm sure some money has already exchanged hands with Netflix for that animated series that's coming or whatever too. And I'm sure that's figured into that dollar value as well. So like, it's easy for people to see like a 1 billion number and go like, throw their hands up in the air. But the reality is it's like, there's a lot of things Wizards is doing very well right now that are making a lot of money, and a lot of stuff coming down the pipe that I'm sure we still don't know about yet, that all contribute to that number, right? So, and also for people to be upset at Wizard for doing $1 billion, you also have to put in perspective that Riot did 1.7 billion, I believe the number was, for 2020. I don't know what their 2021 number was. And also that like Blizzard did, I believe, 7 billion in 2020 as well. So like, they're not even a hugely big fish. They're like the biggest card game and role-playing game right now as far as paper products go. But it's still not like they have an ungodly number. You know what I mean? So you got to keep perspective on all that. That's why a lot of times when I see the outrage over a thing online, I always kind of like slow people down. And I'm like, let's really try to talk about this for what it is. You know what I mean? Like, let's look at this logically, not just snap like, kind of like recently, a lot of it's been like people saying, oh, well, Arena should just transfer to being all cosmetics and do this thing and be like Runeterra, whatever. It's like, people don't realize that Runeterra is only made as of last July, because these are the only numbers I have. So I've quoted this a couple times. But last July, their numbers were only up to 16 million for a game that had come out the previous April. So from April 2020 to July 2021, they had only made $16 million on over 13 million downloads. That means they were barely getting $1.25, not even a full $1.25 per account, on a company that makes almost $2 billion. They probably crossed more than 2 billion last year. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like each game has different parameters and they have different goals and they represent different things for each company. And so it's tough. Now, don't get me wrong. I will be the first to tell you, I've done videos about it. Like, there's a bunch of things Arena needs to do and a bunch of things Arena can fix and things we can do for the economy. Totally on board with all those discussions. But just to flat say, like, it should be like Runeterra. I don't know. I don't know if that's true. But, we've definitely had that discussion a few times. So, yeah, it's tough. I think it's very easy for people to just look at a number or look at a situation and say that this is wrong or this is bad or we're being taken advantage of or we're being manipulated or whatever it is, and saying like, but let's break that down, what that actually is. Because there's a lot that goes into those numbers. There is a lot. And it's the same reason I keep coming back to those same people. Oftentimes are the ones saying like, well, Wizards just trying to kill retail stores and trying to do this. And like, they are totally not. Like, the average person doesn't even know that there's a program Wizards has right now to give money to retailers doing renovations so they can be better stores and qualify for their premium program. Like, literally just giving them money for renovations. Just like last summer when they did, or what's the summer before? I think it was the summer before. They did a whole print run of mystery boosters and just sent those to retailers. Like, literally a couple $1 million worth of cards at their cost. They just sent out to people just so retailers could have something to sell, make some extra money, whatever. They made special promos for them. They're working with Post Malone to supposedly have a program targeted at F&M for 2022, which F&M only goes to WPN retailers, right? So they're spending money to get a celebrity, and I'm sure money goes to his agents and whatever, and whatever's going to be associated with that promotion to send people to retailers, right? They wouldn't be spending this money if they wanted retailers to die. Like, it just doesn't make sense. Literally, over the course of a couple of years, you're going to be talking about multiple millions of dollars being invested, not counting the other multiple millions they were already sending for all the like prize packs and posters and all that other stuff they make and send to all the retailers, right? Like, if they wanted them to go away, they wouldn't have sent them anything, and they would have said, well, if you die during the pandemic, you die. You know, like, that would have been it. So yeah, there's a lot of conversations I think are too surface level, too shallow, and we have to dive deep on a lot of things to really understand a lot of stuff a lot of the time. But anyway, let's get to the next thing we want to do today. Because I have this crazy idea. I want to rank all the Planeswalkers based on their dateability. And we have nothing we're really going to base this on. This is literally just going to be us making up as we go along. So feel free to rebut any choices, to throw in any relevant comments that you think may be important, because there's not going to be any set rules for how we rank these Planeswalkers. Because honestly, there's no way to do that because they're all made up people or pseudo people or humanoids or whatever. So this is the type of stuff that when I have too long and I'm just hanging out in the shower and I've got the water beating down on me and I'm like, what's a weird thing that could be entertaining content? This kind of fits that bill. And this seems like a lot of fun to me. So we have all the Planeswalkers basically alphabetically, slightly off in a couple of spots, but close enough. So we're just going to go through all the Planeswalkers and we're going to decide which ones would be the best dating partners. Completely stupid content. 100% agree here. But that's kind of the point. We're doing something silly and lighthearted and trying to just entertain ourselves here. So, starting at the top, we have Ajani, right? Which, Ajani's like the goodest dude of good dudes, right? Like, so, we're going to have to assume Ajani can't be worse than A tier, right? Like, he'll defend you. He's loyal. He's a leader, right? He's got all the positive traits you want from somebody. But he has one glaring trait I thought about. Because it was funny. I've already thought about Ajani on this one. Like, because he's a cat, he can't be S tier. Because seriously, think about this. Like, you have people that have allergies to cats. That automatically makes it where he can't be a good partner for a lot of people. And some people are just dog people, which sad but true. So we can only really put Ajani at A tier. And that makes me a little sad, but A for Ajani, good start, right? Now, Angrath, I think, is more of an issue. I don't know. Like, one, he's a pirate. So that already can't go great. You know what I mean? Like, pirates codes and all that. Like, can't really do much with that. He's also got rage issues, it seems like. That's probably not going to go well. So, I'm probably going to put Angrath at, like, I don't know if it's F, but he's got to at least be D working his way down to an F. I have a feeling a lot of these Planeswalkers are going to be like C tier or worse now that I'm thinking about it. Like, this is not going to go well. Yeah, see, yeah, I agree with you. Seems like a disaster in the making. All right, so we're going to put him at D tier. Might, over the time, he might get downgraded to F tier before this is all done. Amanatu, I'm just out on entirely. Amanatu, I'm just putting down in the craziest, like, I got to change this thing. I'm going to put to not if my life depended on it. That's going to be our bottom tier. Like, honestly, I can't do Amanatu because he's got like creepy doll little kid vibes from like every horror movie. Right? Like, imagine of all these Planeswalkers, you're in an old building or in a field or whatever, and you see Amanatu just standing out in front of you. You're either throwing something at her or you're turning the F around. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not happening. So, just can't. I can't. Sorry, I know Amanatu's got fans, but I can't. Like, that alone is gonna, like, if I'm not willing to even confront you, we can't go any further. Right? That's all I can give on that one. Like, I got nothing. So, like, that one to me feels like the easiest one. I can just go, nope, you're there. I don't know how many are going to end up in that tier, but Amanatu for sure ends up in that tier for me. I have no problem with that. So what do we got here? Werewolf Lady. I don't know. How do y'all feel about Arlen? I don't know where I want to put Arlen, honestly. I mean, kind of being a leader of a pack's kind of cool, right? Like, matriarch type figure. You still got werewolf stuff going on, so, you know, there'll probably be a part of the month where you're going to freak out on you a little bit, but, you know. Yeah, see, exactly. You agree on Amanatu, right? Like, if they're on a bus, you're taking the next one. Exactly. Like, that's good enough. Okay, so there's some B tier love. Arlen's an A. All right, so there's a lot of love for Arlen. Like, do we put our first dog next to our cat on A tier? I mean, is that what we're doing here? Like, I'm not opposed to it. I mean, A for Arlen also? I mean, is that what we're doing? Because I think it's reasonable. I don't have a lot of knocks on Arlen. Is there some like crazy story stuff I don't know about Arlen that makes her kind of creepy or scary? Because, like, if not, I think we might put Arlen up at A tier. I mean, I might. Okay, everybody agrees. Everybody's kind of wanting to put Arlen at A. All right, I could get with that. Oh, man. Ashiok. Ashiok's kind of creepy. Ashiok's got creepy vibes. Man. I don't know what to do with Ashiok. Like, this is, I think, man. Not only that, Ashiok's got that creepy voice, too. If you play Arena and you hear Ashiok's, like, vocals, I'm not sure, man. Yeah, I think it's got to be, I don't know if Ashiok's, like, not if my life depended on it type thing, but it might just be F tier. It might, Ashiok might be F tier. I think that's where I gotta go. Just too many creepy vibes. I think if you're too creepy, I just can't. I think that's a hold up for me. All right, Chandra. I think this is the one I'm gonna make some people feel bad on Chandra. Like, Chandra's too much of a hothead. Like, Chandra just wants to be mad and aggressive all the time and wants to burn stuff up. Like, for those of you that are old school, she'd probably go like, what's her name that was in TLC and just burn down Andre Rijan's house? Like, that'd be the thing. Like, I don't know. You don't do the dishes one night? Like, your stuff might get burned up. Like, yeah, but she's not nearly the worst though. Because the thing is, she seems like she'd be loyal to a fault too. You know what I mean? Like, she'd be there for you. She'd be ride or die. Yeah, I'm thinking C tier too. Because as much as you'd be afraid of her turning on you, she for real would probably go take somebody out for you too. So I'm gonna put Chandra up at C tier. Coincidentally, C for Chandra. See, somebody like Chandra's hot, but she might ruin your life. Like, maybe, I don't know, possibly. All right, who do we got next in line here? Is that Dak Faden on this? Okay, cool. We got Dak Faden here. Man, I don't know, because isn't Dak a thief? Like, isn't that the problem here? So like if you can't trust him, like how high can you rank him? You know what I mean? Like if you know your friend's a thief, but you have another friend who's kind of into your friend, are you gonna really like be like, yeah, y'all should hook up? You're probably gonna be like, well, let me tell you some stuff about him, you know, like firsthand. And then if you decide to do it, okay, cool. So like automatically can't be A tier, probably can't be B tier, maybe can't even be C tier, which is crazy. But like, if you're the greatest thief in the multiverse, uh, you probably gotta be D, I think, which is sad. But I think that's what we gotta do. I don't think we have much choice on that one. Oh, I just realized this list doesn't have like Bazriket either because they're set up alphabetically. I just realized that one's missing from here. And Calyx also. But oh well, we'll just work with what we got. This is already going to take a while anyway. That's exactly it. You might get diamonds, but you might get gold. You don't know with that. All right. So we have Duretti. Duretti's a pretty interesting one, right? Because you got the whole goblin thing going on, which is, yeah, you know, you might be creeped out by goblins, you might not. And here's the thing, though. Real talk for a second. And this might offend some people, but Duretti has a wheelchair. That means you get handicap parking every time you go somewhere. Like if you go to Disney World, you get front of the line access. You know what I mean? Like there's some benefits. Like he might be a creepy old goblin dude, but like if you got a wheelchair, you do get some benefits you don't get otherwise. So, you know, maybe like you know, I don't know. Like I might be willing to go like B or C tier on a Duretti. I don't know much negative about him. I mean, maybe there's some stuff there I don't know about, but I'm kind of cool giving him like at least a C. And we'll think about upgrading him to B. We'll compare him to other things or other people, planeswalkers that we put in similar category because he might get an upgrade. He might get an upgrade. It sounds a little crazy, but he might. Who's this next one we got here? Who's this icon? Is this Davriel? I think that's who it's supposed to be. He's got a little mask on. I think that's who it's supposed to be. All right. B for princess parking. All right, well, we'll do that for now. Like the parking might be valuable, especially if you live in a city or you're really busy. The parking could be a big deal. I don't know anything about Davriel. All I know is he's like a manipulative contract person, but he's kind of smart and it seems like he's got a lot of money. That matters to a lot of people. But outside of that, I got nothing. I don't know. I don't know what to do with Davriel. I'm like, I mean, he's going to give you a hardcore prenup if you're trying to get married. Like, you know that's going to be a thing with him. But like, if you're cool with the prenup, I guess he's all right. You know what I mean? He's kind of old school if you're into like that old, like, you know, what's the dude from the Addams Family? Like, the husband, if you kind of like that vibe, he's kind of got that going on. But, you know, maybe. So I could make him a solid B tier. Only because, like, I got no problem with prenups and stuff. The problem is he might screw you over with a really hardcore contract trickery. You know what I mean? So you can't put him higher than that. Like, you kind of know what you're walking into, but you know that it might come back to bite you. Right? So you got to be a little careful. Got to be a little careful there. But he could also get you some really good deals because he knows contract law. You know? So, and he seems like he's got lawyer money. Like, just, yeah, it is what it is. Just trying to keep it real. Domri. Assuming Domri's not dead, because we saw him die during the War of the Spark. But let's say if Domri was alive still, what would we do? Domri doesn't seem real smart. You know what I mean? He seems like he's got some issues. Like, he's obviously not going to smell great because he hangs out with the Gruul all the time. He might be F tier. Like, dude just wasn't very intelligent. Doesn't seem like he's well educated at all, and on any level. Doesn't even have street smarts. Like, he probably smells bad. It's not going to be good material. So I'm putting him in F tier. Just saying, like, he'd be a hard one to convince somebody on. Like, and I think about some of these, like, would I have a friend hook up with this other friend? Probably not. If it's Domri, I'd be like, he's got some things, he's got issues, he's got to work out before he brings somebody else into his life. Oh, Elspeth. Man, Elspeth might be near the top. For real. Because here's the thing with Elspeth. Elspeth not only will defend you, she is literally willing to go to the depths of the underworld and back for you. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's got to be a thing. I like, unless there's a serious argument against, I think I'm putting Elspeth. She might be S tier, which we may not have a lot of S tier among the planeswalkers. Now that I'm realizing we all have kind of some serious problems in this pile of folks. So I think, unless there's a rebuttal, exactly, this might be the first one that we can say straight up. And like, don't get me wrong, I think Ajani is like, if there was an A.5 tier, I think that's where Ajani's almost S tier. But I think Elspeth is the first true S tier planeswalker we have in this pile. All right. Who do we got next here? Who is this planeswalker? I feel like she's one of the new ones I don't know. Why am I not? Actually, I just realized too, like, I don't think Dovinbon's in this pile of Oh, that's Estrid. I don't know anything about Estrid, actually. I mean, she's got a cool bald haircut and stuff, and seems to be, like, manipulating mask and things. But, like, I don't know anything else about Estrid. I don't know what to do with her. So I may just have to, until I get some more intel, she might just have to hang out in C tier. I got to be fair. I can't give you higher, can't give you lower. I don't know enough about you. Like, she's like that one that, like, you see a picture on a dating app, and you're like, kind of cute, but like, you didn't put anything in your bio. So, I'm just gonna, like, either let it sit there or I'm swiping left. But it doesn't mean you're an awful person or anything. I just don't know anything about you. Right? Just gotta keep it real. Ooh, Freyalise. This is probably a good one. What do we do with Freyalise here? Because Freyalise has always seemed like pretty solid from what I can tell. I don't know what we do with Freyalise. Are like the green planeswalkers gonna end up being like fairly solid folks? I just realized that. I don't know if there's a green planeswalker that any of us are gonna necessarily hate. Oh, so see, Estrid, that's even worse for Estrid if she's on a dating app, because you're saying she's the type of person who, like, manipulates mash. We don't know who she is. So you know who she is? She's that person on the app that plays with all the filters. So you don't really even know what she looks like. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I can't give her higher or lower than that. Like, I don't really know. So, yeah. Freyalise. This is another one that I feel mostly good about, but I don't know a ton about. But she seems like she's an A-ish. A or B, maybe? Can't be lower than B, I don't think. I'm gonna put Freyalise up at an A tier. I think that's real. I don't know of anybody who would argue against that too much. Now Garrick, we're gonna have some discussions about Garrick. Because I sort of feel like Garrick is like, depends on when we meet him, right? Like, if you meet college Garrick, he's still out wanting to just, like, kill things and go hunting all the time. And, you know, he's trying to get his machismo on or whatever, right? But then if you meet, like, current day kind of dad bod Garrick, he's kind of watching out for the twins, Rowan and Will. And, you know, like, he's gone through his whole, like, crazy phase. He even had his weird interaction with the crazy hot chick and Liliana. Like, he's gotten through that part of his life already. So now he's kind of doing the, like, friendly father figure type thing now, you know? So, like, he comes with some baggage. You know what I mean? Like, he comes with some baggage, but, maybe we're all right. That's what I'm saying. We don't know which Garrick we're talking about. We just have generic Garrick as a total personality. So, because I think if we'd have went with old school Garrick, like big crazy, like I'm going to go kill everything with my axe, hunt down planeswalkers, whatever, wild Garrick, like that'd be an F tier for sure. Too much aggression, right? But like now it seems like we've come around a little bit. Maybe, I mean, the thing is though, good with animals. You know, for real, like if you're an animal person, you're gonna be totally down with Garrett because he's gonna find you all. He can control all the wolves and whatever. So that's kind of sweet. But also means he might spend a lot of time outside. Like if you're the type of person that doesn't like your significant other going out hunting every weekend, you'd have a problem with Garrett for real. You know, he's big on that. So I'm thinking C tier. Like not a terrible dude, good dude, but he's got his baggage and his issues. But you know, maybe he needs to keep doing his wilderness thing because he needs that personal therapy time. So can't fault him for it. Oh man, old Gideon. What do we do with Gideon? Gids, Gideon's willing to die for his friends. I mean, he's kind of a goody. Does that make him automatic S tier? Like, I mean, because like he's literally died for a friend in the face of like the craziest situation that planeswalkers have dealt with. Like, that's, and he's always protecting people. Like maybe to a fault, but when you're comparing him to other planeswalkers, I think that might make him A tier quality, at least. Maybe that might be S tier quality. So like maybe I'm gonna temporarily put him at S. He might get downgraded to A, but I don't think he can go less than A. So yeah, I think Gideon is up there. Oh, for those of you that are just joining, this is not playability of planeswalkers. This is how dateable are the planeswalkers. This is just made up ridiculousness that we're having fun with. This has nothing to do with anything else. This is us just being nerds right now. You can't have Dak higher, Nathan. He's a thief. He literally is the greatest thief of the multiverse. Like you can't trust him. Like we can't put him any higher than D tier. I appreciate people going to bat for Dak Faden, but you're gonna have to make a strong argument other than he should just be higher. Let's see. All right. Oh, Watley. Oh, this is kind of a good one too. I don't know what, like, is Watley A tier? I mean, craziest thing is she can control dinosaurs. So if you think dinosaurs are sweet, you know, that could be a thing. I mean, you know, maybe. I don't think I have anything bad on Watley. I think that's an A tier. I don't know enough about her to push her to S tier, but what I do know, I don't think I can put her below A tier. Like she seems like good, protective, good for her community. Like I can't really fault that. Yeah. Exactly. You could be a little too good sometimes. I agree. That could be annoying to people. That's why I'm putting them in some temporary slots and we may review them at the end because like some of them realistically you're being compared to other planeswalkers. You know, I think that's part of it. No, see, if Dak stole your heart, it'd be because he's trying to sell it to somebody else who needs a heart transplant. See, that's the concern with Dak, right? He's not just stealing your heart. He's probably stealing your heart because there's another person who's going to pay way more for that heart. Like, so, nah, I can't go in on it like that. I just can't. All right. Who do we have here? Who's this dragon? Oh, is that? I don't know who this dragon's supposed to be. Anybody know who this is supposed to be? I am confused. Is this like an interpretation of the Grandmaster of Flowers or something? I may not rank this one. I don't know who it is. For real. I'm trying to figure out who it is. I don't know. I know the next one obviously is Jace, but like I have no idea who. I don't even know what artwork this goes to. What card? So yeah, I'm gonna skip on this one. I literally don't know who that's supposed to be or what it is. All right, let's go with Jace. Here's the problem I have with Jace. Now, I know some chicks are probably gonna, or just people, may be chicks, might be dudes too, are just into like shirtless Jace. So you know he's got his bod and whatever. But Jace has like a weird history, right? And he likes to play with his own mind to make himself forget stuff or whatever. So you might have that situation Like, hey, were you sleeping around with so and so? And he might just bloop. I don't remember. You know what I mean? Like, I'm just saying, Jace could be pretty manipulative. So, like, I don't even know. I don't know. Like, oh, you're talking about the dragon. The dragon, I don't think is necessarily Ugin because these have been put in at least close to alphabetically, and I would put Ugin way toward the bottom. So, like, maybe no, there is something already representing Ugin, so it's not Ugin. But yeah, so Jace, I'm probably gonna say. I mean, here's the problem with Jace though. Like, he's a little. He feels like the type of person you would say is like on a D&D sheet. He has high intelligence but no wisdom. You know what I mean? That's sort of how I feel like with Jace. Like, he knows a lot, he knows how to do a lot of things, but like when it comes to applying it or how to get through situations, he doesn't often choose the best choice. So I'm just like, oh, you're right. Jace could gaslight you with that mind stuff. For real. You know what I'm saying? So like, I got problems. I like, part of me is like, he's usually well intentioned, but he's also created a lot of situations too. Man, people are gonna hate me for doing this, but I think just my potential to be gaslit too much by Jace has to have him in D tier. I just think like there's too much manipulation going on, both with himself and with me. Eventually, I don't know what's up from down. There's gonna be a lot of problems in that relationship. So I'm gonna give him a D tier. And I know people are gonna hate that. I know when I post this, people are gonna absolutely hate it, and I'm gonna get vilified. But I can't give him higher than that. You're right. I mean, he no street smarts, right? That's just what it is. I think that's the best I could do for Jace. Jaya Ballard. Whew. You know, Jaya feels like one of the more reasonable red mages. Honestly. Oh yeah, Jace is definitely a bit self-centered. I think that's true. No arguing that. And Jaya kind of, at this stage, we kind of got to see Jaya as like a older matriarch type figure. So that's got to count for something, right? Like very caring, though happens to be a red mage. So I might go B tier on Jaya. Like, you could very well, like, Jaya, so far, Jaya might be the only one that knows like a good chocolate cookie recipe or whatever for the holidays. So that also has got to count for a little bit. You know, like I'm gonna go up a little bit more. I mean, like you gotta be into some older women, but you know, like she might know how to throw down compared to a lot of these olders. Yeah, oh, she's definitely way more controlled than Chandra. That's for sure true. Yeah, no doubt. I think B tier solid there. What do we have on next up? Is that Yang Jianggu? Is that who that is? The Planeswalker from the Chinese set? I actually don't know very much about. This feels like a Planeswalker that doesn't have life experience yet, though. I think is the problem because if I remember right, Zhang was very young, so I don't really know. I think this is another one. We don't have enough. So I think I'm just going to put it a C tier here. Right? We don't have enough to work with. Like, I mean, now if you're a dog person, his dog is uber sweet as hell. So you're probably going to, like, if you're swiping through the app and then this dog's in a couple of pictures, he's probably going to win you over. You know, because people are suckers for dogs. Like, if you got a cute puppy, that'd get a lot of people. Like, I would even say that's the number one technique. If you're going to be on a dating app, if you got a dog or a cute cat, like, you might as well get it in the picture. So, you know what? I was going to say C tier, but if you're an animal person, you might go up. But I think he's too young. I think this might be a jailbait situation. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but he might be too young. Oh, see, even Crazy's got it. Yeah, a little not of age. So, can't put you like not if my life depended on it because you're not creepy scary. You're not that creepy doll girl, whatever. But like, probably gonna have to wait a while. Oh, Karn Daddy is a protector. And if you're, and if you're in a little bit into some kinky stuff, like people do like the Karn Daddy stuff. So, I mean, there's a market for that. But yeah, like Karn, is Karn A tier? For real? I mean, the dude, loyal to a T, has protected all kinds of people. He's resourceful. He's survived a long time. Like, he's knowledgeable. I'm like, he might. I think Karn is S tier. I think he is. I don't think, like, seriously, what are we all gonna say? Is there negative stuff to say about Karn? I don't think there isn't anything, right? Like, and like I said, there's a bonus if you're into the Karn Daddy thing. Like, just, it's a thing. I don't know. I'm just saying, it's out there. It's in the world. I said it. It's true. I'm not making that up. That's a thing. All right. Is that Kasmina? I think is the next one. I got nothing on Kasmina. I actually don't know enough. I think Kasmina just ends up middle of the road for me. Yeah, exactly. See, he seems like the kind of perfect significant other situation with Karn, right? Like, he's kind of got to be. So he's got to be S tier. Kasmina, unless somebody's got some intel, I think I'm just putting her middle of the road, sadly. I would like to put her higher, but I don't really know much about her. I think she's going to kind of fall in the middle because I don't know enough to put her one way or the other. Unfortunately, I know that makes it a boring part of the game because you're like, I'm a big fan and you should rank her somewhere. But like, I don't have anything to go on. So she ends up middle of the road. Ooh, Kaya. All right. This will be a good one on Kaya. All right. So here's the thing. Like, Kaya hangs out with the Orzhov, which is already a little bit of a problem, right? Because all of her friends are going to be pretty much manipulative jerks. So no matter what you do, she's going to have some friend talking about, I could just kill him. Because, they'd be into that. Like, the Orzhov, they try to kill you and keep you in servitude forever. So that could be a problem. But you're right, Fear. Like, we don't know a whole lot about her because they've kept a lot of things secret. She is an assassin, so you would have to watch her back. I mean, because if you ever pissed her off, like, not only would she kill you, she would know how to kill you and get away with it. And that's a little bit of a concern, right? Like, we got to watch her back all the time. And if she wanted to follow you around, she could, because she can go incorporeal. So, like, that'd be a little bit much. So I don't know. I mean, don't be wrong. All the depiction of her, she's kind of hot. Like, but I don't know. Oh, she's not S tier. Like, you can't be S tier with that. Like, she's got problematic friends. She's got a secret society. I don't even know who all her friends are or where she even works at. Cause like, it's all secret, right? You know what I mean? Like, that's, I don't know. Like, I mean, yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. If you're willing to take a chance, then she might be A or S tier for you. If you're willing to gamble on like crazy history, secretive background, like you don't know nothing about her, she doesn't open up about things, she moves in silence. Like, yeah, see, I'm the same way. I'm like, I can't do higher than B tier, y'all. I can't. I know some of y'all want to, but I can't. Like, see, Brad's got it too. Too many Dexter vibes. I got it. Like, you might be doing it for good reasons, but I don't know when today's going to be my day. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know when that day's coming. So I'm gonna go B tier. Mostly trustworthy. Seems to be on the side of the good guys, but I'm gambling a little bit. You know what I mean? like that's the thing. Like, I am taking a gamble. It's like, how much are you willing to gamble? She might get downgraded to C tier. I don't know. See, some of y'all are willing to. Like, I don't know if I'm not like, dude, I take risk out of my life a lot of the time. So this probably ain't gonna work for me. Exactly. See, minding my own business. Exactly. That's what I feel like. All right. So Kiora is next up. Kiora's kind of a weird one, right? Because you got that whole like controller of the sea sort of thing, which is sort of cool. See, that's the thing. I don't know how much better or worse Kaya is over Chandra. I think that's a debatable coin flip, honestly, depending on which way you view their personalities. But yeah, Kiora. The thing about Kiora is like you have to enjoy the water. That's the first thing. If you don't enjoy water, then you're not going to enjoy Kiora, right? Like you got to be willing to go get out in the ocean, maybe go swim with the dolphins. Like, if you like doing that stuff, though, like, you know, if you live along the coast and maybe you get out in the water time, you're from California or something, like, Kiora might be ideal. And let's be honest, like, you both get private time, right? Because she's not going to want to come hang out with you in the house. You're not going to want to go underwater, obviously, because you just die because you can't breathe. So it might be like, hey, cool, we hang out during the day, do some jet skiing, some scuba diving, whatever, it's all good. And then, like, I get to go hang out at home. But we have this other real problem that she might not be down with you eating sushi. So if you're a sushi person, this could be a real problem. You know what I mean? Like I enjoy sushi. So that might be a deal breaker on this relationship. Cuz I can't imagine she's going to be cool with that. Right? All her friends happen to be like octopuses and everything. Like that's not going to go over well. So now, if you happen to be vegan or vegetarian or whatever, then, you know, you might be able to make things work out with Kiora. I'm unfortunately not. So I think that's going to be a big deal breaker for me. Plus, I enjoy water, but not all the time, right? Like I like going out every once in a while. You know, granted, if you live up here up in the northwest, water's too damn cold for me to get out into. So that'd be a deal breaker too. So yeah, I think she's D tier, sadly. Fish? Exactly. No fish. Exactly. So can't do it. So yeah, I think that's a deal breaker for me. And I do like seafood. I ain't gonna lie. I like seafood. So that's a deal breaker. Next up. Oh, Koth, actually. Yeah. We don't even know what's up with Koth right now, do we? Koth sort of just disappeared at some point. And we sort of just acted like he hadn't been around. So I don't know what to make of Koth, actually. I don't have enough intel on Koth. I don't know what merfolk eat Solvix. I mean, I don't know, maybe they eat seaweed. Or they eat like, I don't know, non-intelligent fish like clams and stuff. I have no idea. Oh, that's true. We are building a nice curve to this list. You're right. I didn't even realize that. It's kind of filling itself in perfectly. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like Koth's going to be another one that falls in the middle for me. I don't know if we really have enough to go on. If I remember right, he was fighting on the side of the good guys on Phyrexia, but that's all we know, right? We don't really know what happened to him after that. So we have a very small window where we learned anything about Koth. So I'm gonna put him down in the middle. He's just gonna be one of those mystery people on an app. He shared some pictures of some cool places he's in, but that's about it. Didn't tell anything about himself. You don't know how tall he is. Don't know how much he weighs. Like he's just trying to get by for now. He's testing out the app. He's looking. He's not heavily searching, I guess. So that's all he gets. All right. This is the one that I'm sure everybody's going to have an opinion on. Liliana. This is the one where if I'm going to get blown up, it's probably right here. Oh, my gosh. Oh, Liliana, what do we do? Liliana. Like, here's the thing. Liliana sort of has the thing that Garrick has going on. You know, where like, if you met Liliana before she settled down, she's just this like hot, crazy chick, right? Always trying to get by on people and manipulate folks and do all this thing. And like, though she'll help her friends out, she's always kind of in it for herself a little bit, you know? But like new Liliana, she's kind of carrying around some baggage. She feels bad about some things, right? Some things didn't go the right way. Like she feels bad old Gideon took the hit for her, right? There's some stuff there. Like you know, but she's still down with zombies. There's problems. Exactly. Like, physically, she's hot. No lie. Like, probably at least A tier. Problem is, she comes with all that other baggage, and I don't know if I could do that. And I don't know. Like, here's the thing I have to, like, really ask myself. Here's my problem, right? Would she be into me enough that she'd be willing to kill me and then zombify me to have her perfect mate? And would she be cool with that? Because that's a scary situation, that knowing that at any point, she might just be like, you know what? I'm tired of you. And then, like, next day, she just got you on puppet strings or whatever, right? Like, that's a bit much. That's a bit much. Like, I know I'm overanalyzing this, but it's kind of the goal here. Like, I don't know. I feel like there's too much manipulation. Like, I can't really get on board with this whole thing. So I get it. If you're just looking at looks and maybe you're asking, like, I don't know, 20-year-old me, I might be like, yeah, dog, S tier, it's worth the risk. But like older me, I get, oh yeah. Don't get me wrong. We're talking about planeswalkers. There's going to be some baggage. I get with all these planeswalkers. I get that. But I'm thinking about like the whole zombie aspect. I ain't cool with that. Like, that's not going to work for me. Yeah, I can't do more than like, oh, am I going to, oh man, people are going to hate me. I think I'm going to put Liliana in D tier. I might say, like, if we were just looking at looks, probably much higher. But like the reality that I could be zombified to just codify an emotional outburst or something one day, I can't really do it for me. I can't. And this is gonna, I know this is gonna get me blown up. I know people are gonna hate this, but like, it's a personal list. This is what I got. Don't skin me alive. Like Liliana might, but you know, it is what it is. I don't know. Like I said, the fact that she could zombify you and then control you, I can't. That's a little too far. I can't do it. I want to, but I can't. All right. Who's next up? Oh, this is the other. This is Mu Yanling, right? Okay. This is another one I don't feel like we have enough intel on, right? We've only even seen Mu Yanling in what, 2 sets? Because they were in like the special dual deck set and then the M20 set. But I don't think we got extra story on her, did we? She put the zombies away. She's on the discard path since Strix. Maybe. That's what I'm saying. But I don't know. I don't know how long that's going to last. So like, that's the best I could do with Liliana right now. I know some people are going to hate it. I apologize. I know some people are going to hate it. But that's true. Kaya is less risky. See, that's a very good point. Like, Kaya, I feel like, at least, like, when I'm dead, I'm dead. There's no manipulation going on. Like, she knows if she kills me, I'm out, right? I'm out of her life, whatever. Like, I feel like Liliana might for real just be like, you know what? I'm tired of you. I'm tired of your mouth, whatever. And then she still likes you, so she's going to find a way to keep you around after you're dead. Right? See, that's the problem. Like, that's a whole other level of concern that you don't have with some of these other planeswalkers. So, like, that's why I'm putting her in D tier. Like, that doesn't work for me. I think with Mu Yanling, I'm gonna have to put her in C tier because again, I think this is another one I just not enough story, not enough awareness, don't really know enough about her. Oh, we've talked about hotheads, Nahiri. Ooh, Nahiri might be F tier, y'all. Like, Nahiri might for real be F tier. Like, ooh. I mean, she was on so much of a revenge path. She brought giant overworld beings and whatever to another place and put a dude in a concrete slab. Like I don't know. She might for real be F tier. Like, yeah, I don't. Man, like, I think that alone might have to, like, can't do it. I think that's for real. Just a can't do it for me. Like we've already seen how far her anger will go. Like, and I don't know what you have to do to push that button, but we've already seen like how bad it could be. I can't. I can't. I think that's one that's just is just too little. Just I don't know. Yeah, that's exactly it. You might get stabbed in your sleep. I don't even think she might do that thing like that. Who was that lady that like sewed her husband up in a sheet and then beat him with a baseball bat or whatever? You might get that level of treatment from Nahiri. She's not just gonna like beat you. She's not just gonna leave you. She's not. I don't even think she'd just stab you. I think she'd have to like. She would do top level revenge stuff on you. I think she's that level. Never heard a story with her that did not involve death and destruction. Exactly. I think she's got to be down on the bottom. She's the one you bring home to piss off the parents. Probably true as well. I could agree with that. Oh, man. All right. Okay, next up here, we've got Narset. I don't know. Do we have anything bad on Narset? She's one I hadn't thought about, actually. Other than, not liking her cards because they're unfortunately oppressive, but like Narset herself actually seems all right. I mean, I don't know. Do I have that wrong? Is Narset like it? Can Narset be an S tier? Like I don't know. Like I'm trying to think of reasons to knock Narset, but I got nothing. That feels strange. Like, do we just say she's just S tier? I mean, feels a little weird, but like, is there something I don't know that I should put her down below her? Because like, she seems all good. I'm literally trying to think. I'm like, do I have anything negative on Narset? Narset might be all right. Like for real. I mean, is she though? Is she oppressive and controlling? I mean, if she is, then she can't be S tier, obviously. Like, okay, everybody's on the A or high B situation. All right, that's fine. That's true. She does have some like, depending on which one, she kind of has the hot librarian vibes going on. I get you. But yeah, all right, we'll put her in S tier. Everybody, or A tier. Everybody agrees with that. Everybody says she's at least in A. Nobody's really like pushing for lower, really. That's true. I'm not saying she stands out, but sometimes when you're comparing to the rest of the group, you kind of look around and go like, well, is she comparatively an A or S tier compared to the other, whatever, like 50 people we have in this pile? Like, probably. That's okay. She doesn't have to make much money being a librarian. She might enjoy her job a lot. Like, there's benefits to that. I'm good with that. Exactly. Being focused is also a good thing, though. Narset's part of Tamio's book club. That much I believe, for sure. Oh, Nicol Bolas. Dude, not if my life depended on it. Like, I don't even have to think about that one. Like, Bolas is down at the bottom. Like, every level. Dude is controlling, egotistical, definitely just like manipulative on every level. Right? Like, pretty much no redeeming qualities, basically. Like, other than being smart. I guess intelligence is a redeeming quality. But that's about all he's got. I mean, I just can't. I just can't. Like that's where you're at. Like that in no world would you be like, "Hey, I know this cool dude you should date." Like not with that guy. So, yeah, definitely at the bottom. Oh, okay, so Nissa, here's one that I think is going to have some people split. Because on the surface, I think it's very easy to look at Nissa and be like, man, she's really loyal. She even said like, hey, I can't run around gallivanting with y'all. I got to go protect my home, whatever. And that's all good. So like, there's all these good vibes, right? But I still remember the stretch where Nissa was basically like an elf Nazi. And like, that was a little bit much. And I think we kind of like swept that under the rug. So I don't think we could put Nissa in S tier. I think she's overcome some things, but I don't think we can put her in S tier. But I'm willing to go A or B tier with Nissa. I feel like she's gone through an exploration. I think she's learned a lot. she's obviously loyal to her people and protects Zendikar, so I'm down with it. But like maybe B tier, like I said, because of that other stretch. If you're not an elf, she does have a lot of problems with you. I'm with you, and I think that's kind of the thing, right? Like we absolutely can't be S tier. I think we agree on that. Like just because she's like, you're not an elf, you don't get preferential treatment, right? Like so. That's true. She's still down with Chandra. That's cool. I got no problem with that. But like, I think she's in B tier. And I'm gonna say this because the problem is if Chandra's still into her, you might end up with the jealous Chandra on your hands. And that could be a real problem. So like I'm gonna put it right there and be like, B is probably good. Pretty high quality. But there's some things that are real concerns for us here, so I think B is a real good place for her. Man, I'm just realizing the Wizards might have actually got the colors right on this. Cause I'm realizing like, look, we have like white Planeswalkers and stuff all at the top. We've got like oh, that's not true. We do have Davriel up here, but I was like, we're starting to put some of these black Planeswalkers and stuff all at the bottom. Like, the colors are working themselves out appropriately. Obnixilis. This is another one I think has to be pretty low. I think this is another one. I think we can't go high on this one either. I think it's just a case of like, dude, the same thing. Like he seems, going for power. Now you might have that whole like demon fantasy thing or whatever, and he might check that box for you. But I can't. I think now here's the thing. I don't know if I picture Obnixilis going ham on you like Nahiri would. Right? So we're in this situation where I'm trying to start like measuring compared to other people we've already ranked. Like, where do we put them? Like, I think he might still be F tier. That's true. See, that's a good point there, Plaxi. He actually doesn't keep his promises. That's already going to be a big problem, right? On top of demon issues. So I think that you're right. I think that's going to put you down to F tier. Because if you can't trust anything he says, that's going to be a real big problem, right? That puts you like a hair toward being not if your life depended on it. But I'm not going to say that because there's a world where like if you just had to and you needed him to watch out for you, like he might actually protect you or whatever, at least while it benefited him. Whereas like I would at least assume still with like Bolus, I'm probably dead no matter what. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm willing to put him in the F tier pile and just say, yep, is what it is. All right, so Ral Zarek. Here's an interesting one. We've learned a little bit about Ral Zarek over the years. We've been to Ravnica 3 times now. Smart, a guild leader. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about Ral. I don't feel like I have a lot of negative about him. But I don't know. Like, I don't know. What do y'all feel? I'll let chat make the decision on this one. I'm literally torn on. I don't want to give where I think he is yet. I want to let chat give me the feedback here on Ral Zarek. Because I got nothing particular on Ral one way or the other. That's true. We might find out more about Obnixilis when we get to Streets of New Capenna. That's true. He does like to tinker, but that's not bad. He might have a cool. You might make him like his own workshop, and he might build you some cool things out there. He might save you money. You don't have to go to Pier 1 or any of these fancy like furniture places or whatever to get like weird clocks and things, right? Like if you're into industrial stuff, like he might just build it for you, right? That's a benefit. And if you got Ral Zarek around, you'll probably never have electronics in your house that don't work. You know what I mean? Like that could be a thing. He might fix all that. That's true. He is a bit of a workaholic. I can't argue that. That's a good point. But I mean, he's got to be A tier, right? Like because if our worst knocks are, he spends a lot of time tinkering and he's a bit of a workaholic, but we got nothing else. Like that's still a pretty reasonable partner. You know what I mean? Like you could be way worse off. Like that's true, and he's super nerdy if you're into that. So like, yeah, I'm gonna say A tier. I think I think y'all came to the right thing there. Hey, it's all right if he's in a relationship with Tomic. They might be doing the whole like multiple partner thing or whatever. I don't know, but like, seems like a good dude. I got no problem with that. Who's next up here? Who is that? I don't know who that Planeswalker is. That's another one I don't identify. Who is that? Because I know the one next to it is Rowan, obviously. And then Saheeli. I don't know who that is. I don't even recognize that artwork. So yeah, I'm going to skip another one. This is the second one we have to skip that I can't identify because I have no idea who that is. Doesn't look familiar at all. All right, I'm sure somebody will tell me later, but Rowan. Okay, first thing, I don't even know how old the twins are supposed to be right now. Because aren't they like the heirs to the kingdom or something or whatever? And I will say this, though, about Rowan and Will both. You do have the concern that you have scary father figure lording over you and Garrett. Right? Because ain't his thing now that he's watching out for those two? So that could be a bit intimidating. For real. Like, that's a thing. Like, you might be getting interrogated all the time by Garrick. Like, you asked to, like, hey, we're going to go on a trip. You might have to fill out, like, a full-on legal affidavit and, like, a 52-page document detailing your itinerary, whatever. So, like, I don't know how I feel about that. But, yeah, I think, though, for the most part, they seem like they are probably... Rowan and Will both. I might put these together in a thing, but I feel like they might be B tier, assuming they're of age. I don't even know if they are. Like, I assume they are because we've seen them out on their own in the Battle Bond set, and then we saw them. Well, they're in college in Strixhaven, right? Yeah. All right. That's fine. Oh, that's a good point, Crazy. If you do marry one of these two, you could be in line to be king or queen. That is actually a real selling point. Not gonna lie. Like, you do get to be married into royalty. Right? Something I hadn't considered. That is a real fact. That changes things. I mean, again, they're a bit young, so, you know, it'll depend on your age, how you feel about them or whatever. That's a real thing. That is true. You got to be able to deal with royalty, though. That is true. You do have to deal with all the pomp and circumstance that comes with that. But they seem like good folks, though, from what little bit I know about them. So I'm going to put Will and Rowan in B tier. Partly because of age, right? They're still a bit young. They've got a lot of developing to do. They're still going through their whole college years thing. Like, there's still a long way to go. A long way to go on those. So kind of like they're good people now. They haven't had enough time to screw up, but they still got a long way to go to like climb up the ladder, I think. So I think that is a fair assessment for them. Saheeli. Saheeli might be S tier. For real. Cause here's the thing. Like, Saheeli, super smart, right? Really supports her people. Super creative person. She's attractive. There's nothing. I got no knocks on Saheeli. Somebody's gonna have to sell me on not putting Saheeli in S tier. I don't think I have anything that says Saheeli can't be S tier. I sort of feel like Saheeli, like I did with Karn, where just like I don't have anything to knock anybody on. Easy as she's actually human. That's a good point. But like, yeah, exactly. Optimistic, smart, like, yeah, all these traits that you like, right? Like, it's almost sad that it is sad that we didn't feature Saheeli more. Like, we actually made a Planeswalker that has all these positive traits, and she really didn't even get featured in the story on her own plane. So, like, yeah, S tier for sure, all the way there. Who else do we got here? This is the what's her name from Amonkhet, right? Okay. Samut. That's who it is. That's true. It's okay. You can have a little bit of a rebel streak. I want somebody who's willing to fight for a cause. Like, that's a good thing. All right, so Samit, if I remember right, like Samit was loyal, but then Samit was one of the ones. Did Samit like not agree with all the stuff going because like she didn't trust the plan of everything going on with Bolus or whatever. Oh, you can be a crazy cat lady. I'm all right. I could live with that to a point. We could work on that. Yeah, Samit is an interesting one because I feel like we didn't learn quite a lot about Samit either. We kind of got just a little bit while we were on Amonkhet, and then Samit showed up again briefly during the War of the Spark, and I think that was it. I don't know. How does everybody feel about Samit? Because like I feel like the type of person that would protect their people very well, like proven that she's not stupid, not willing to just go along with it just because of like everybody saying like, no, this is like the god we have to do stuff for, and like. She still like questioned it and went like, but this still all feels weird, right? So like that somebody is not gullible. So that's a good thing, right? Seems to be like a worthy competitor, fighter, whatever. So like that's got to be good. So like I mean, again, I don't think we have quite enough intel to go above and beyond, but I'm willing to say Samit might be an A-tier partner. Yeah, exactly. Athletic, like all that. Better than Chandra tier? Oh, no doubt. Definitely better than that. So like, I'm with it. Like if somebody wanted to argue that Samit's a B tier, I would kind of be okay with that too. I don't think I would fight that too much. But like, yeah, I think Samit's an A or a B. That's true. She will perform some wild plans to keep you safe. That's true. See, all right, everybody's on the same page. I think AB is fair for Samit. All right. Sarkhan is next. Oh my gosh. Man, Sarkhan's a weird one too, right? Because he's kind of like there's like past history Sarkhan and current history Sarkhan, I guess, because we had that whole weird thing with the time jump and the dragons in Tarkir, whatever. But we've also seen a lot of versions of Sarkhan, and he seems pretty obsessed. So I don't really know. Actually, has Sarkhan been every color? No, we've not had a white Sarkhan, actually. We've had him in every other color. Yeah, Sarkhan's one, feels like there's a lot of rage going on with Sarkhan. It's sort of the vibe I get. Yeah, I agree. Like, he's into the dragons more than he should be. You know, maybe that's a problem. Yeah, post Tarkir block is definitely better than Tarkir block Sarkhan. I agree with that. I think, man, I don't know. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like, if you're into the whole like tall chisel bot or whatever, like he'll definitely do that for you. Long hair and all that, like the heavy metal rock god sort of thing. He's got that vibe going for real. So if you're into that, he might be your dude. But yeah, I'm the same way. I'm with you, Brad. Like, I'm kind of thinking about this. Like, he could be the type that like just goes off for some reason. You know what I mean? Like, I don't like. I feel like we're one anger situation away from him. Yeah, exactly. See, I think C tier's the ceiling for Sarkhan. I'm not sold. Sarkhan's a tough one for me because I feel like I'm at like D.5 tier, like almost C tier. I'm gonna go C tier. I'm gonna go C, but like I'm not sold on that C. Like if we were sitting around a table and we were debating this for like 20 minutes or whatever, I could be talked on dropping him lower without probably a strong effort. But I'm gonna leave him at C tier for now. Oh, Sarah, the Benevolent. Well, this is a weird one because like, isn't Sarah like a deity effectively at this point? Like, or am I misunderstanding that? Yeah, I don't. I think we just wouldn't with Sarah, which is weird. And like you have the whole issue with like the whole religious thing and like all the angels and like that seems like a lot to be like wanting to date or marry into. Like at some point she's got everybody who like worships her and there's churches and temples dedicated to her. I there's just so much here that like I feel like if you were dating Sarah, there's a lot to take in there. There's a lot to absorb. Like I like you might have to switch religions. Like there's all kinds of things happening here that I like I can't. I think this would be an F tier for me. I think would be the deal. When malevolent is your name is probably not good. That's also true. That is a good point as well. I can't really argue that. Okay, yeah, so I think that's fine. I'm fine putting Sarah at F tier. Not that she might have done some good things or whatever, but it's just like the package of things that comes with that, right? Like if you marry into that, like that's a lot. That's a lot. I don't think I'd be up for that. That's too much to deal with. Here's another planeswalker I don't recognize. I don't even think that's a planeswalker. Maybe it is a planeswalker. I don't know who it is. I don't know who that artwork is. I just grabbed these off the internet, so I have no idea who it is. I'm gonna skip it, but we are gonna go to Sorin. How devoted do I want my partner to be? She's essentially lets herself die after her husband got killed. That's also true. All right. So Sorin is kind of all over the place. I think Sorin's going to come down to how much you're into vampires. I feel like everybody's going to have a different opinion, and no matter what it is, you're going to be skewed one way or the other based on how much you believe in vampires. I think that's going to be the issue. Like, I really do. Like, cause here's the thing. You've got like early Sorin that everybody's into. Then you've got kind of like the battle Sorin. We got some versions of that. But then we got the creepy Sorin from the latest set where he looks like he's just like sleazy dude hanging outside of a high school waiting to get a date. And that's creepy. Like, yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. I feel like he's got attitude problems and everything. Like, agreed that he pulled that thing, that whole storyline, going back and forth in the Hiri. He did some effed up stuff too. Like, I don't know if I'm gonna go not if my life depended on it. But I'm gonna be real with him being a vampire. I always have to question, like, is today the day? You know what I mean? Because I'm that person. For real, no lie. I told my significant other, I said, look, if at any point you become a vampire, don't bring your ass home. And she's like, why not? I'm like, because I'm going to stake you. And she's like, what if I promise I wouldn't kill you? Like, I wouldn't be able to trust that. So, like, I'm just telling you straight up. You become a vampire, don't come to my house. You will not be invited in. I will have a stake in hand, and I'm probably wearing a whole ring of garlic or whatever. So, like, just letting you know, I'm probably not down. I think he's an F for me. I know people are going to disagree with that wholeheartedly, but like, I think just by nature of being a vampire, you have a ceiling on what I could do. Unless you'd have to really prove yourself to be a super good person for me to like move that bar any higher. Tamio. All right. What do we do with Tamio? Tamio's obviously smart, super inquisitive. That's a huge benefit. That's all right. I don't have to worry about a relationship lasting thousands of years. I don't want to live thousands of years. Like, that's too long. But yeah, Tamio seems pretty good. Though, I still find it weird that Tamio showed up in Innistrad, but then didn't really do anything when all that stuff was going on. So that part's a little bit weird, other than like chronicling it. So, I'm not really sure how I feel about that. But I think Tamio's probably like a B tier? Well, that's fine. Like, again, we're going to play under the auspice that maybe there's a polyamorous situation or something here. Like, some of them obviously are in relationships already. We kind of have to, like, treat that for what it is for sake of the exercise. Oh, that's true. She's already proven herself to be a quality family person too, though. That is a good point. That might move her to S tier. I think you're right. I think that alone says, hey, held up a family, been loyal, smart. You know, let's. There's something to that. So, S tier for Tamio. I think if something happens with her current mate, she would be quality partner to have. I think that's totally okay. Teferi. I think Teferi might actually be A or S tier. Crazy as it is, but like, I mean, he's protected an entire world effectively. Like, we've seen recently that he's a family man, like raising his daughter. Like, I'm not like, you know, like now don't get me wrong, I don't like Teferi's cards. I hate playing against them or whatever. I hate what they do. But Teferi seems pretty good. So I'm like, I'm good with that. Like, unless somebody wants to argue against Teferi being lower than S tier, like I think, especially when we're comparing him to other Planeswalkers, I think he's going to get S tier status. Yeah, exactly. Everybody's saying Return Dominaria. Yeah, definitely S tier. Yeah, I think he's S tier status. And I feel like he got the normal growth curve, right? Like, you were a kid that was just like a prankster or whatever. You kind of rebelled a little bit. You went through a thing where you had to find yourself. You protected your people. Now you got a family. You know, doing that whole thing, right? So I'm in. All right. Teo. I don't think I know anything about Teo. Like, I'm just realizing this. I'm like, I know the art, but I don't think we know anything about him. So yeah, I think Teo's just gonna get a C. I think Teo takes good pictures for the app, but he's too lazy to fill in anything on his bio. Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm fine with Teferi being S tier. I'm okay with that. I agree there are points where he has done some things that in the past I'd probably be like, maybe he's a B tier or whatever. But I think where we've seen where he's grown to, I'm kind of like, I think I have to put him in S tier. Who do we have left here? Oh, that's Tezzeret. Ooh. Tezzeret. I don't know if we get handicap parking for having a mechanical arm. So, like, that's a thing. Though, I think he has to be a D or an F. Like, the problem is, like, we've seen Teferi, like, work with the bad guys to try to, like, better himself or whatever. Like, I mean, you could view that as maybe trying to, like, he'll do whatever it takes sort of a thing, but he's always been on one foot in on the bad guy situation. So, like, I don't, like, I can't get behind that. You know, yeah, exactly. I think that's a good assessment. If you're into the whole bad boy vibe, maybe that's a thing. But long term, that's probably not going to be healthy. You know, now granted, I don't think he's as bad as like an Ob Nixilis or a Nahiri or a Sorin possibly. But I think he's equally as bad as probably like a Dak Faden, where like you'll probably have some good times and the dude's gonna be loyal, but like at some point he might turn on you and you're gonna just be like, I should have seen it coming. You know what I mean? So it's like it's like the Liliana thing, right? Like, you know what you're getting into. You're kind of like, if I'm willing to gamble, I guess this is okay. And it'll just be a good ride for a short time, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this is probably the best you can do with them, sadly. Who does that give us? Oh, the Wanderer. The Wanderer, we know we're gonna find more out about, actually, I guess, in Kamigawa. So this is just C tier. Another one we don't have. We have literally no information on the Wanderer. I think we've seen a card, and that's about it. All right. Yeah, that's true. I would say that too. He does have some anger issues, old Tezzeret. Oh, Tybalt. Tybalt. I mean, again, if you got that demon fantasy thing going, all right, maybe Tybalt's your dude. But ultimately, I think Tybalt's F tier. I don't know if there's ever going to be a time where you can trust him. And I think that alone's gotta account for something. So like, and the thing we know about Tybalt, straight up, is that he's always being a trickster. That's kind of his whole gimmick, right? And you can't build a relationship around that. Like, that's just not healthy. So again, I don't think it's like a not on my life dependent on it situation, but it's probably a not gonna happen ever situation. Now Ugin, I think, creates an interesting discussion for people. I think I'm gonna let chat decide on Ugin, because I think I know what I would want to do with Ugin. But I'm gonna leave this to chat to give their input, because I don't want to flex it one way or the other here. But it's interesting. But I will let y'all decide, because Ugin's a pretty interesting case, especially with like what we've learned of Ugin, a couple of years ago. I think for a while we didn't really know much about Ugin, and then War of the Spark and all that happened, and there was people kind of got more into it a little bit. But I don't know what everybody's opinion is, right? Because, well, again, I'm gonna give it a couple seconds, let y'all figure it out. In the comics, he's a psychopath torturing Chandra. Oh, you're talking about Tybalt? Yeah. Tybalt's just crazy. Like, I can't do anything with Tybalt. Like, I think putting Tybalt down in F tier is like the correct move. Like, he's messed up. He's not quite as bad as like a Bolus, but he's real bad. Like, if there was like an F minus tier, he would probably go there. But yeah, all right. So nobody has an opinion on Ugin. This is interesting. I figured Ugin would have got people riled up. Ugin is tough, right? Because you have this like all-powerful dragon being person thing, right? You've got to figure that whole situation out and how that would work. Exactly. Too complicated. That's exactly sort of how I feel about it. But he was the one that came through basically for the multiverse, right? Like he was willing to sacrifice himself effectively, because aren't him and Bolus both in like this weird like blank world prison or whatever, to make sure that Bolus stays there? So like that's pretty wild. You know what I mean? Ugin stays very close to not on my life. He's a more altruistic Bolus, but he still toss you into some interplay. See, that's the thing. He might. That's what I'm saying. Would he do stuff? Let's assume they weren't trapped. Like, would he be willing to do anything that's manipulative just to get over on Bolus? That's what I'm questioning, right? Because I don't know. And I think that makes you like a D tier. Because like part of me wants to go like, you've done some bad things, but you did literally save the multiverse. But like, so that makes me want to say C. But one really good positive feat doesn't necessarily define you as a person. You know what I mean? Like, if I do something awesome today, that doesn't make up for me just being awful in a bunch of other ways. Well, yeah, that's exactly it. I don't know if that, and see, and I think you're right there, Fear. I think that's what this comes down to, is like, I don't know how much he would value you and emotions as a partner. And I think that's the end result of all of it, right? Like, how much are you going to be valued in any of those equations? It's going to be about him and everything around him, but not necessarily you. All right. Urza. Bruh. Like, we're going to find out more about Urza, but we know he was crazy and stuff. I might put Urza in Not If My Life Depended on It, honestly. But I feel like if I do that, I've got to drop like Tybalt and other stuff down there too. I think I'm just gonna leave Urza in F tier, but like, yeah, he's not happening. He's not happening. That whole situation with Urza Mistra is so crazy. I'm kind of cool that we're going back and telling that story now, which is kind of neat. Vincer. This is an interesting one. I don't know, what do we do with Vincer? Well, that's also true. Like Ugin does feel responsible for Bolus to some extent. All right, Vincer. This is another one. I'm kind of indifferent. I like, part of me says put Vincer down at like a D, but I don't have a lot to base that on. It's just like the way I feel, which is weird. Oh, that's true. Urza does have war crimes. That is a real good point. Like that is very valid. Like I can't argue that. And I'm sure we're going to find out even more as we get through 2022 about that story. So yeah, we do have, I think he is worse than the others. I think we're moving him down for sure. All right. So Vincer, I kind of was thinking about Vincer too. When we get down to this one, I don't know what to do with Vincer. Like I literally don't know enough about this character. Even though he's gotten a few cards, he's shown up a couple times in different sets, but like I don't have anything to hang my hat on with this character. So I don't know what to do here. I mean, does Vincer just get C tier because I just don't know anything? Maybe. I mean, it feels a little weird, but maybe this is it, which kind of sucks, but I mean, I hate just tossing people in C tier and going like, I don't know enough about you. I can't put you higher or lower, but I feel like that's the correct thing. So for now, I think I'm just going to put him there. Vivian is a weird one because I feel like Vivian is mostly positive, but I feel like it could be another one where she's way more into the animals and the environment than you. You know what I mean? Like, well, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Brad. I got like Vincer, yeah, the whole show off thing or whatever, but like that's all I really know. I don't know if that's enough to really put him in any particular category. Sacrifice his life to free Karn from Nufrexia, but he had to be forced to visit in the first place. Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, he does good things, but like, why though? You know what I mean? Like, how selfless is he? How loyal is he? Like, so I wish there was more that I could go on, but I got nothing. Vivian though, I'm kind of wanting. I feel like Vivian's going to end up B tier for me. I think when I started out, I thought Vivian was going to be an A or an S tier, but the more this has gone on and the more I'm thinking about my logic with all these, I think Vivian's like a B tier. Mostly because, like I said, I feel like there are times, like if you want somebody's going to give you attention, I don't know if she's going to give you the attention like she would the animals and the environment and protecting her beast and whatever, which, you know, that's a positive quality all its own, but not enough to get you up higher in the ranks, I don't think. I think a solid B tier is probably what I would give her. But she does have a little bit of that whole, like, you know, animals are better than people kind of a thing. Yo, she knows all of the hot elf chicks. I mean, she would. That's true. She probably would be friendly with all of them. That's very true. But yeah, I think Vivian's a B for me. I think that's where she falls here. I like, again, I'm good, right? We're, you know, she's probably all right most of the time, but like, don't accidentally, like, you know, scare off a puppy or something. That could be it. Let's see. That's a good summary of Vivian. She's also the kind to hold a grudge. Well, that's true. Everybody holds a grudge against Bolus, so I don't really hold that against anybody. All right, Vraska is next one up. Vraska, in a way, is kind of a tough one too, sort of, because like it's easy to look at Vraska and be like, okay, she's a Gorgon and all this, and like so it should automatically like drop her down. But at the same time, that whole adventure she had with like Jace and trying to like work her way around and turn on Bolus or whatever. Like, I don't know what that says about Vivian. Like, has she found her way to be a better person now? Or is it still just like, well, it was the right thing to do at the moment, so she did that thing? Or like, you know what I mean? I'm a little, I don't know. I don't, because I don't think I could give her a D or an F. Right? She's come through a bit and said like, hey, look, like she's willing to do right. She's worked towards some positive things. So like I gotta respect that to some level. So what if we go B tier? How upset would people be with B tier on Vraska? Because I feel like that's probably correct. And I don't think too many people should have an issue with that. I think that's totally reasonable. All right, cool. Everybody's good with that then. That is true. She does have the whole pirate problem too. She is a pirate assassin. So, I mean, that is, you got to keep that in mind. She can't be A or S tier. That's for sure true. I don't think she could go higher. And then the only other ones we have here is that's the landfall or the land-based planeswalker dude, the cat guy. Crap, what is that dude's name? Why am I not remembering? It's on the list, so we're going to do it. It's already here. I'm trying to go back and find this planeswalker's name because I know exactly who it is. I don't know why I'm forgetting his name. There it is. Lord Windgrace. There you go. All right. Now, I think Windgrace has the same problem you have. Well, again, we don't know much about the character, so that's already a thing. You do have the issue like you would with Ajani, and we couldn't give Ajani A tier because people have cat allergies. So that's already a thing. So I think just for lack of knowledge, we're going to go and have to put Lord Windgrace into the C tier. Not knowing anything, can't go better or worse. I think that's pretty fair. And then there's some other stuff down here that I don't think those are planeswalkers, so I don't know why they ended up in this pile. But for the purposes of this exercise, this is our chart. Do we have anything that we vehemently think is totally wrong in the wrong spot? And it's actually cool how this mostly curved out correctly by itself. That's the other thing. You know what I mean? Like, that's actually pretty interesting how this worked out, right? We had a small amount at S tier. We have a small amount and Not If My Life Depended on It. And then the rest kind of worked out the way you would think for the most part. So yeah, I'm kind of into this. And what's funny is I didn't think this list was going to look like this when we got done. I really didn't. I thought it was going to be like all over the place and like, you know, maybe we ended up with like 2 in S tier or whatever. But I feel pretty good about this. Like, granted, I know some people are going to be upset about Sword and some people are going to be upset about Liliana. But overall, I kind of like this list. I think this is good. I think if somebody, like, if you wanted to know about Planeswalkers' personalities and you looked at this, I think this would be a good depiction of, like, the landscape of Planeswalker. Now, admittedly, there's a few that still aren't on here. But, like, I think if you looked at this and were like, well, how positive of a character is, I don't know, Karn? And you look at that and be like, oh, Karn must be a pretty good person or whatever, right? But then you go like, how positive a person is Urza? And we have him down at the bottom. People are like, ooh, Urza must have been effed up, right? So if you were brand new to Magic and you looked at this, I think this would give you like a reasonable perspective of the landscape of like, even to some extent, like we said, like the colors, right? Because more white planeswalkers ended up near the top and more black planeswalkers ended up near the bottom, right? Where, you know, you're talking about being manipulative and, you know, being about death and zombies and all this stuff. Like, yeah, it kind of makes sense they ended up where they are. Like a lot of the red ones ended up like in the middle and you know, like makes sense. We didn't end up with any red ones at the top and no black ones at the top. So that sort of makes sense. A lot of the green ones sort of fell in the middle, like what we would expect, you know. The Mass Duke that's not on the list worships Avacyn and tried to get Garrick to her so she could cleanse the cure curse. Oh yeah, I don't even know which one you're talking about. That's funny. But yeah, this was fun. This was something that this is the type of stuff I think is fun to do every once in a while, just as a unique exercise, something amusing. No real like long-term value from this. This is just strictly entertainment. But yeah, I dig this, man. This was fun. I would do other quirky, weird things like this on stream just because I think it could be a lot of fun. I don't know, maybe we like rank a certain type of card. You know, maybe we rank all the like, I don't know, green legendary creatures or something at some point, right? But like this thing I think is a lot of fun. I like this. Obviously, it'll be the type of thing some people complain about because they have their favorites. They're going to feel I mistreated or ranked poorly or whatever. But this isn't about anything other than just, you know, over analyzing stupid characteristics of characters. That's really all this was. But yeah, I'm glad y'all came along. Participation was great. I'm glad y'all enjoyed this and found it fun. Like I said, it's just the type of weird idea I had that I thought, let's do something different today. Because nobody really does content like this in the Magic space, and I think it's just fun to just break the monotony every once in a while and do something like this. So I'm going to go ahead, grab a snack. I'm going to make a thumbnail to go with this. And then I will put it up for people to watch. I'll try to edit some of the stuff down so they don't have to watch all of this. But yeah, this seems like a lot of fun. I would like to do something like this again. It's different. It's unique. And like I said, I think we need some levity in our gaming more often. Whether you're playing Magic or League of Legends or whatever, like I think it's very easy for us to get caught up in like best strategy or best combo or whatever. And sometimes it's just like, let's just have fun with what we have. Like, we're playing games, man. At the end of the day, let's just enjoy ourselves and be silly sometimes. Like, this whole chart doesn't have to make a single bit of sense. You know what I mean? Like, it literally doesn't. It's one person's opinion with the assistance from his chat. Like, that's all this is. Like, no need at all for this to have any real logic. No, there's a bunch that aren't. There's at least 5 or 6, I think, that aren't on the list. That's okay. But yeah, this is one of those things I just think it's so easy for us to get caught up trying to do the most serious thing all the time. And it's like, not everything has to be serious. You know, it's kind of the reason I enjoyed this a little more, because I'm sure if we like said, let's rank all the red legends or whatever, right? There would be people going, but like this deck's better than this deck, or this is more fun. How could you rank this part? Like, that's cool for conversation and engagement. And I'll still do that every once in a while. But like, sometimes it's like, this is just complete nonsense. You know what I mean? Like, this is never, you know, like, nothing here is going to be relevant to anything we do with Magic other than just having fun in the afternoon or early evening, depending on where you're at. But anyway, y'all, I'm going to go ahead and head out. Thanks for hanging out tonight. As always, wherever you're watching, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Please remember to check out my sponsors over at Cardsphere, over at Alter Sleeves, with Ultra Pro especially, because they do such an amazing job supporting me and other Magic content creators as well. You know, if you also, I don't care what your stance is on COVID, the vaccine, whatever, but please stay away from other people right now. Take care of yourself and your family, especially with the flu also going around right now. That's a thing. And most importantly,